Monday that has since gone positive. When last we spoke, we were kind of struggling, trying to get back to the upside. But overall, there you go. Look at the board as we stand right now. It is the NASDAQ leading things back into positive territory, 0.61 right now. The Dow, 0.47. Let's call it 0.5%. S&P 500, 0.34 to the upside. Still a pretty negative day for energy markets. You can see crude oil still 3.3 to the downside. But remember, that was 5.3 to the downside in the pre-market this morning. 0.5% for Bitcoin. Ethereum on a decent bounce as well, 1.5%. I just saw this note, Babylon, BBLN, halted, news pending. We'll keep an eye on that. Wasn't really doing a heck of a lot today. A little penny stock, but again, BBLN just halted, news pending there. Before we came back on, there we go. I'll look at an improving situation as far as the board is concerned. Energy stocks, as I mentioned, the only real laggard today. Some of the materials group also in negative territory. But yeah, 3% for crude. That means 3+% for most of the oil producers on the day. MOS, FCX, CF, LYB in the materials group also to the downside. Take two up here, a nice day, 3.6% higher, 3% for Warner Brothers. Once again, back to the downside. These healthcare stocks have been strong all day. If you remember that ILMN, which is this one, 10%, was down big time off earnings last week, trying to bounce back to the upside this week. Industrial shares also in positive territory, but overall kind of a ho-hum kind of a day. But hey, better than negative. Hope your afternoon's going well. We'll jump into what we were looking at in the pre-market this morning, do a bit of a review. There's a ton of opportunity available to you once again today at the open. Make sure you're joining us every single day at 8:30. We take you through to 9:30, get you set for the open, talk about all the opportunities, including this one. Sean is here. He's going to talk you through one of his trades from this morning.
Hey traders, what's up? Yeah, welcome to the Trade of the Day brought to you by Day Trade the World. Click that QR code and start your journey with Day Trade the World today. Look, it's kind of funny actually that we chose Amazon today because multiple reasons. Like I thought the NASDAQ didn't have not that it didn't have a chance. I just thought that coming in today, we were actually red to start the day. And I'm very, very surprised to see the NASDAQ up 0.6. But with that being said, look at this here for Amazon. Let's go over to a 20-minute chart right now. I talked about it during our pre-market show. And then as 9:30 hit, I was like, Google's at the highs, Apple's at some of the highs. And they all look very, very similar to this. The only difference between Amazon, Google, Apple, Microsoft, all that, is that Amazon's actually up like close to 40% in about a month and a half on this NASDAQ run. So I'm just thinking that, hey, there is a pullback due, but there's kind of two sides of every coin. Why short something that's so strong, right? So anyways, we waited very, very patiently again to have this happen. If you could see, this line is up here, 143.60. That was actually the high in the close on Friday. So we came in here Monday looking for some shorts in this area, and then we don't do anything in the middle. We let it actually start to rip up, and our first trade happens pretty quick, about 9:35 or so, but that's right into this level. So we start to go short around 143.50. It rips up, and again, if you look back at this 20-minute chart, we are kind of using 144, which I drew right here. You can't see the line because it's a bit higher. I was going to use 144, maybe 144.20, something like that as our out. So we take our last best fill right there. Then as the stock comes crashing down in, remember, on average, our fill price is around 143.60, I would say, because we did put the most shares we have on board at the highs. That's how we always kind of try to do it anyways. Today we get lucky that we get that top wick, but then it just falls back in. So we're taking like 30, 40, 50 cents worth of risk on the top side, worst case scenario. As it comes back in, some of these outs, 142.60, right? So that's $1 on there. As it falls back in, comes in into these pre-market levels again. Not really anything too significant about this 141.50. You could see it's just kind of in the way here. There's not much there. We went to the bottom on that on the 9th. It closed there on the 10th as well. So 141.50 does have some resistance to it. And that's where we started to get some out. And that's the baseline now for this. As you can see, we're in the short again. And we just took another fill out there. I mean, even as we're sitting here talking to you, we're making that cash. Hopefully, anyways, it doesn't come back down. Or sorry, it doesn't come back up. But we shorted it again into this area. So We thought we were pretty lucky getting some of these ticks up here, but now let's play this range, right? Sort of the midday range from 143 up to 143 and a bit. So we'll hit this to the short side. We've already taken a piece out there. We reloaded and it came back in. So we're going to watch out for that 143.50 area. Now that we're getting lighter on the trade, I feel like we can actually wait and to see if Amazon tests the high spot there. But it's your trade of the day. It's Amazon, and I think it just started with bias. It just started with initially trying to go short, plus bringing it in on the market. You can see oil's come back down. Oil today was down 5.5%, down to 87. It did battle back, it looks like almost to 90. But you can see the NASDAQ just hovering around. If we go back to flat, though, I'm pretty confident in this short. So we're going to see if we can hold a little bit of this. It's your trade of the day, and it's Amazon.
Great move for Amazon back to the downside this morning. Yeah, trying to roll over right now is the overall market. Here's the note on that Geo. Geo, I just saw back to day highs as well. Yeah, Burry's Scion Asset Management taking a big position in GEO. So back to highs for that one as well. Also want to mention this BBLN. It halted earlier. Bloomberg reported that there was buyout interest in this. It is now halted for news pending, so maybe an actual deal coming through for BBLN, little tiny penny stock moving around. But a ton to discuss this afternoon, including this pretty impressive continuation move from Tesla this afternoon, back to the downside a little bit as we head towards the last 90 minutes or so of the day. But it's been a decent day overall. We've erased now that move down after Elon sold way back at the end of last week, guys. We got right back to that very level that we started going back to Monday or Tuesday of last week.
I mean, on a dime, essentially. Like, just welcome, everybody. It was an amazing midday show. We'll get that one out of the way, and those are only going to get even better as we continue Steph absolutely crushing it, as we knew she was going to. But man, Tesla's been strong. Like, every time I look at a chart like this, the first thing that comes to my mind is worst trader ever, Neil. This thing got to 940. That's that high. In the morning, I came in pretty much looking for shorts. And then when the momentum started going to the upside, I flipped to find some long trades. Tesla was one of them, but I did not manage to get back into this when it took out that 920 level. And on that 15, like it was pretty good off of 910. I much preferred the support that we just never got a chance to see. But sometimes these mid-afternoon breaks that happen, and you get this one at 920. It's made a high. You can see how strong that is. I'll pop the 3-minute over so you can get a better look at it. But sometimes these are just as good as the early morning ones, because once it took out that morning high at 920, that was it, man. It was gone, off to the races. It never retraced below. Now it's got a lower high, and we have to worry about that 940 level. But Tesla has been supercharged pretty much all morning long. So it's been arrows to the upside for this bad boy. The market trying to get through some of these highs. Oh, and by the way, did I just get NVIDIA? Wow. I was about to say there's going to be some dip buying opportunities. And then this wick just happened, NVIDIA in front of that 188. I got wicked out of those longs at 186 earlier, so I'm going to try this level again. 187.50 is going to be my out here for NVIDIA. And of course, Bed Bath & Beyond is still charging higher, which we'll get to, I guess, in a second.
Yeah, we're at $1.90 now in the money on Bed Bath & Beyond, still holding from that little bottom there of 13 and change. So there it is, Bed Bath & Beyond taking out the day's high right now, pretty much. I mean, we're right here at 15.60, so congratulations to anybody on that tip right now. It's been a big one for us there, as Amazon coming back in as well. Good trade there. Yeah, Tesla, again, you just got to try to find the tops, right? If you're patient enough with it, at some point you will come up with something. It bounced around 940. I don't think you would have had 940 as your top, but I think a lot of people could have been short here, like 37, 38, and then once it broke lower there off of this little barcode action right here, I think that, although obviously you could see that was the trade, but that's a good one, breaking that level. Wait to see some more barcoding again, and then you'll get a breaker top, but we're starting to really cash in on some of these shorts right now, Apple, Amazon, and then we have that Bed Bath & Beyond long.
Speaking of Bed Bath & Beyond, there's been a number of squeeze stocks, if you want to call them that, making moves today, including this one. Huge move today for REV on heavy volume here. This kicked off around 11:30 as we headed into the midday show, but this is obviously a one-time super squeeze stock. There was this note that came out from Morgan Stanley, who picked up apparently 1,650 shares in Revlon, guys. That, again, if you go back a couple months, was a huge mover along with the rest of this group, AMC, GME, and Bed Bath & Beyond.
I'll get Bed Bath & Beyond out of the way before we get to Revlon, because that's been an absolute boomer this morning, today as well as this morning, or late morning, I should say. Bed Bath & Beyond, it had a good 14 break. It couldn't take out that 15. That was early in the pre-market. The dip held support at 1350, right in front of last week's high, which is great. You always want to see when a stock is breaking out, can it hold previous resistance? And then it took out this 15. So I'm all out of the dip buy in the breaks, and I'm out into this one now again at 15 even, playing it to the high, which is 1560. If it takes out that top, there's plenty of room here on the daily chart. You get up to like about, it's like a 1750 to about 1890 channel where I think there's some resistance comes in. So there's room to run, to be sure, for Bed Bath & Beyond. And then Revlon, wow, that was just super strong. At one point I felt like this was going to be done for the day when it had this fail at 9 even. And then you've seen it reclaim $8 as some of the other squeeze names have gone. So I think for this afternoon, I'll look to play off some of this support. I'd much rather be buying this above VWAP, where like it breaks, holds above 840, and then you're buying at those prices, giving it down to 8 even, as opposed to playing off the support at 760. It could still do that for us, but for now, I am just looking at that 760 support for Revlon. Volume needs to come back in. I mean, after seeing Bed Bath & Beyond pick back up, I think Revlon, it's sliding to the upside. It just needs volume to confirm this move and hold above that 840 area.
Oh, man. I'm just looking to short Roblox here just to think about what we want to do. Okay, so yeah, we had talked about Bed Bath & Beyond again. Pretty straightforward trading. Tried to take the top out there early. It would have worked a little bit, but we didn't take it out. It came back in. We averaged in and got out there for about 50 cents or so of a hit. Then we find that bottom take right there. Get it in at 1370, and now you're taking out day's high, and there goes Bed Bath & Beyond right now, rocking really to the upside. And we have a $2 winner on right now, so you do feel like, bang, oh man, look at that. Our GIF is really slow.
Oh, that's bad.
That's brutal. So we'll see about that going to the upside right now as Apple coming back in. The other name was Revlon. I mean, these are only two squeeze names I had. We were in for a cup of coffee and out. So in there at 24, out at 40, as that was the high. Then it broke 8 and we got out again. So a little bit of a loser there on Revlon, but should still be in it, obviously. But I just don't have, I don't have the sort of gumption sometimes to hold some of these because I just fear that there's so much more downside when I see these breaks, and it just tends to be that there is some holding patterns here. So we'll wait. I mean, we were pretty easy to hold on Bed Bath & Beyond. So again, let's see if it can hold one more time. The reason why this was an easy hold, and I mean just risk to reward, we sort of already put in that bottom there at 1340 or so. So when it started to come back up, it was like an easy punch up because we had that out. I mean, like long at 70, I mean, here we go up to 16. Long at 70, right there, out at 40 is 30 cents worth of risk. It's $2 in the money now. So it's going to be a good trade for us. Maybe get some out, maybe not. But I'm choosing not on Bed Bath & Beyond, Brendan.
Probably a good idea. A number of Chinese kind of catalysts to mull over, I guess, in the pre-market this morning. There was industrial activity or manufacturing activity from last month that came in well below expectations. That was A. B was the Bank of China with an interest rate, a surprise interest rate move overnight. No one was expecting that. That I've been talking about sent the US dollar sharply higher. There was this as well. The delisting fears continue. It also sent oil to the downside, that activity. But a number, like there's a huge list down here of ADRs, guys, that were under pressure. There's also Li Auto at the bottom of the board there we can mention as well in this group, obviously, off of earnings. But Alibaba to the downside today. It has bounced since. Baidu, JD, even PDD. Volume on Pinduoduo today about 3x what it normally is.
Even PDD. Wow, shots fired at PDD. Look, this morning I came in, we're not going to talk about coin, but I came in, shorted coin and got run over. And the other one I liked short was Li Auto and got run over. And when this flipped to a long and got positive, I went to NEO because NEO was good last week. So, I could have, if I turned to Li, I actually think it would have been a better trade because of how strong it was. But I just saw the negative catalyst. I liked what NEO had been doing the last couple of sessions, right? Like when the long came in on NIO, Thursday was pretty big off 240 and then got up, tried to test that 220. You even had some late afternoon longs. And then a much more clean move on Friday where you were taking this nice consolidation around 2060 and then it played all the way up to 21 even. So all I looked for was that same 2060, which is right around your pre-market lows, and then entering right around. I had some in front of 21. The bulk were adding at about that 80 price, and then play some to that quarter, play some to 2140. I'm still in NEO here, looking for a push up to 22. I'm not sure the market is going to be strong enough for that to happen. Do keep in mind, NEO does report this week. So we had Li Auto today. NEO reports on Wednesday, I believe it is. So you get a lot of these EV names are going to come through with some numbers. Certainly NEO, there's been buyers at the open on this stock now pretty much 4 days in a row, right? And pretty strong each time. We haven't made a fresh high off that 22. Be nice if we could challenge it here. Obviously, that's what I'd like to see happen. Market likely to take out highs if that happens. And then the two shorts that I have on will probably be bad, Affirm and Google. But NEO looking pretty strong. If I was dip buying this right now, it would have to be this 21.25. I just don't want to be buying off of highs. Not when we've seen this, like the market makes a bit of a barcode off the top. I'd rather hold into those highs instead of buying at the highs. A lot of times we get that rollover. And if we haven't cracked the top by 3 o'clock, I'll put a trail in here relatively tight to make sure we can bank some on NIO. But I'll be 1 for 2 when it comes to the EV names. 1 for 2 in the Chinese EV names. We did make money on Tesla, but not nearly enough. Li Auto, no good. But the NEO long has been pretty strong the last 4 days.
All right, I just went over to Alibaba today, short the big guy there, thinking that there was going to be some issues with it, but there isn't actually, and Alibaba is actually up today. So we're going to be positive on it. So we'll go 1 for 1 on Chinese names today, and just hit this short there at 93.20. Took it all out near the bottom, then took our last 20% out on a 93.40 break. At the time, it must have been VWAP or something, because we got out at 93.40 or the 50 period, and then it just shot all the way up. So lesson learned. Like when this name starts to go, you just got to punch long. Right now, you're barcoding upside a little bit. I am short here Apple. I'm short a lot of these names, Amazon, and I'm now short Roblox. Otherwise, I like this short as well, man. 93 right here, 93.80. These wicked bottoms. I actually don't mind this as a short in Alibaba. But, the market has to tell you it's a short. And right now, the market is doing nothing. And, this just seems like the exact same afternoon's going to happen to me again here, where we have big winners on board, but then we go back and we take some hits on some of these names just as we melt upside. All that we've done into the close the last couple of days is just melt to the upside. So, there was one day there, I think it was Thursday actually, where we started to go to the downside, but let's hope that can happen one more time here for all of us that are short. I'm short Amazon, I'm short Roblox, and I'm short Apple right now with the next talk on oil, which has been actually pretty volatile today, Brendo.
Trying to bounce here with, 10 minutes or so to go, I guess, in the pit session. Yeah, I just noticed we're hovering here below 4,300 once again on the S&P. We're going to get Steph to come through here in a little bit to give you a look at the overall market. But yeah, let's talk crude oil. When we sat down this morning, it was down 5.3%. We've since, as Sean was saying, kind of climbed back to 89, 88.5 kind of area. But I noticed that a lot of individual names, individual producers, not faring as well as the overall futures are. Back to the downside here. 2.5% for Oxy, maybe a little bit better, but 64 coming into play once again here.
Yeah, look, I liked some shorts early on in XOM, and sometimes when you get that kind of a move in the pre-market, like we had seen in oil, like you were gapping down from 94, XOM was gapping down with crude oil futures down into like 91.5. It had already fallen and bounced off of 89.50. So at that point, you're working off some lows. It would have to be a heck of a continuation for it to be any good. There was a channel that I was able to work with at 90.40, at least back into the low of the day, and that was okay. But once it broke, you had to get away from it. And then you don't want to get trapped. Obviously, it's obvious you don't want to get trapped short at the low of the day. And once we realized that's where I was headed, I just had my one stop. I actually had an accidental long position that I got out of right away. Although I do like the shorts up here, looking for crude oil to close. When oil futures close, I might play off of that 92.5 high that got made a little bit later on in the session, just about like 30 minutes or so ago, and then play off of this high. I think that can be a solid one to work in the afternoon. But sometimes you got to give up the ghost, right? Like you can't sit there averaging into it. Yes, crude is down, but the momentum since the open was a recovery on some of those oil futures, or so individual producers.
We're going to go short more Amazon right here. The only name that I was looking, I mean, again, we might have to get taken out on the high side here. So we'll see. The only name that I liked for a short, or at least a key level, was 153 here on CVX. That never came into play at all. So there's 153, and I can show you why we liked it. It was on the 20-minute chart right here. We have to adjust this because we had it for the trade of the day. There it is right down here for CVX, this 153. I wanted to see if that was going to be a level to break. Obviously, oil did bounce back up, as Brendan just highlighted there. And with the pit closing very, very soon, it looks like we will be down that about, it's over here, about that 3.5% or so on oil. So as CVX makes that move down early, you can see it does actually bounce pretty clean right there off of 153. So we picked a good level. I mean, it doesn't get down exactly there. It gets to 153.40. If I was bullish on oil today, I mean, we picked the right name. We picked the right level. It's just we were bearish, and it never hit us into that short. But good long there, 153. We'll try to watch that tomorrow, especially if oil goes to the downside one more time. So we're going to watch out for that. We did. There's a reload there on Amazon at 99. And like I said, I just don't want to. Remember, you guys were like last time saying, oh, it looks like Sean's chart looks like purple flowers on Amazon or Google, and that's what it's looking like again. But
why is it a flower?
Honestly,
it's like a purple wall, but why is it a flower?
Flowers, because they're growing, like they're different sizes.
Oh,
these are the tops.
okay, no.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, green is kind of like the stem.
Yeah, I'm looking at the top like a resistance thing.
Yeah.
But you're looking at the actual.
Someone
like,
on the chat said that, so I don't know, it was a
I
little while ago. But I mean, I'm hoping that Amazon can come back down and create flowers that are actually grounded into something. So what about a 142.60? What about a VWAP? I mean, we will get something out at 80, unfortunately, because that is the 50 period, and we're trying to respect some of the work that we've done. So we will try to get something out there, but I'd hate to just scalp this out, because then when it does wind up tanking, if and when it does, then I don't have enough on board. But it saves you the other way around, of course, when that does happen. I feel like we already talked about Liotto, but let's go back over to Brendan.
That was my bad.
Oh, that was your bad.
Yeah.
I threw it in with the other Chinese names there. We can give you a summary. How about that? If you missed it this morning, Liotto, the first of the Chinese EV makers to come out with earnings. Nice looking chart here. It's worth saying, kind of holding higher below 33 right now. Trying to retake some levels here. Red to green after a wider Q2 loss. And they said 27 to 29,000 deliveries to come in Q3. That's up 15%, which was a little bit of a disappointment. They were targeting 20 to 25, I read earlier.
Yeah, well, this is my bad, because we were talking about NEO, and I just threw it in there. I wanted to show you guys that we took the hit on Liotto and then went over to NEO for the long trade. And maybe there's a short in Liotto off of these highs. I'm not going to mess around with it here. I feel like I'm looking at a firm for shorts, and I'm in a Google short, which in Google was good all day long, I think, for the short opportunity. And a firm is a firm, which is a much different story. Like, you're hanging out at the highs up 1% after putting a wick off bottom and holding a 30 support. And this, like, look at it on the daily chart. The thing about trying to, okay, I'll zoom back in here. The thing about trying to work a short here is, despite the fact that it wasn't necessarily good numbers, that is pretty bullish. Like, you're bouncing off the 200 period moving average, you double bottom at an even dollar like 30 level, and you look like you want to get back to that 50. So I think that's a pretty good looking chart to their credit on Liotto. I'd rather look at something that's relatively weak. As I said, here's a firm which has this 39.5 or 39.40 area, double top Thursday and Friday. It then tries to break out, rejects that breakout, and is now right back to below that price, that 39.40 price. So I'm just shorting it off of that high from last week after it has a wick off top. Market is at the high, a firm is below VWAP, and it's down on the day, and it just put in a failed breakout as well, and is trending back into the downside since that failed break at 10:30. I'd rather short something like this than sort of jump in there and think that Liotto's made a top when it put in that big of a reversal.
Yeah, I didn't even trade. I mean, I didn't trade Liotto or anything. We talked about it. I would always rather trade NEO, but it seems like the action's going to be like in the Rivians, the Teslas, and all that of the world. So, all right, I'm a little distracted here because, we do have 4 positions on right now, including a re-engaged Roblox short. And then, yeah, we're shorting the big guys here, including Amazon and Apple. So there's our last Amazon, and there's the flowers. We're starting to build these flowers again. I'm going to put a bid down here at 70 or so. Oh, I got to change my, see, I almost shorted AMD again by accident because I'm looking at too many names. We do have more level 2s open and everything like that. So as you're getting seen here, oh, Amazon's down to 70s right now. Okay, I'll take that. We just punched out. I punched out on purpose. We will punch that 70. Okay, Amazon, come to the party. Here we go, nice little move to the downside. I'm bidding 61s, baby. Let's see if we can get that on a good idea to short Amazon. We talked about this as our trade of the day, and it looks like we are hitting it here. So hopefully it comes back. Why don't you want to go down a little bit? Let's take a little bit more out. I'm going to cancel my 61s and just get it out right there at 65 or 66, whatever that was. And another one, another out right there for us here. And then there goes Apple. I think it's prudent to take something out on this as well as we continue to go down to the downside. So let's wait to see where we go. Come on, give me that, baby. Down to 85 if we can get it here on Apple. Re-engage this short as well. We've been shorting this guy all day. So let's see if Apple can come back down. And it is about paying yourself first, man. You have to make sure that you pay yourself when these moves happen, which is why I go right over to Amazon, right over to Apple. Now, we didn't get the fill on Apple, but we did on Amazon. For Bed Bath & Beyond, a little bit of a different story. This one's going to be a monster one as we'll fire off the sausage cannon. Up there to $16 right now goes Bed Bath & Beyond, a $2.25 winner. So, yeah, buddy, things starting to print out a little bit for us here. I may just up my Apple out a little bit, but I mean, I'm waiting, whatever, man. I'm waiting at 85. So one more penny down, and we'll get that Apple fill when we can get it. Hopefully it does break through 85, and we will get, there it is, the fill. So there it is right there. Nice little trade for us on that one. So we'll just go knock, knock, wake up Apple, time to go to the downside and see what happens here. So far so good on this look, but yeah, Apple short, Amazon short, Roblox short as well. Why the Roblox short, you say? Well, Roblox has been pretty beat up today, and it's right down there at the bottom. So we did think that it was going to continue. So we do have that tick right there. But then the averaged in price brings us all the way back. So maybe take a piece out of Roblox because we've sort of made up for our mistake there. I still don't think it was a mistake. I mean, at some point, I got to go short this name, I feel like. But yeah, take advantage that we're all the way back to flat here on Roblox.
Yeah, I think one of the other reasons to pay yourself is have a look at the channel we're in the NASDAQ. I mean, ES is the same thing. Like, you have this support which has been put in for the last hour or so here, 13,640 on that NASDAQ. The ES, it's at 42.90 that it's had support. So if you get something that's rolling over, Google off the top. I just got some out of, as Sean was mentioning, these started to slide in a little bit more. We're able to take another 40-cent look. I'll play this back to VWAP. When the market didn't really pull back through that support, pay yourself out, because if we do catch another bid and the market holds that channel, well, you're going to be right back up toward those highs. So in the case of a firm, get some out at 39, I'll get back in the offer 39.25, and then work to play off of those lows. Rinse and repeat that. As for the long trades, nothing's really changed for me on NIO. It's still holding the top end of the channel. I think that's perfectly sound. It would have to get below 21.20 before I would think about getting it out. But there is a breakout potentially coming. And the 15 break was pretty solid, and it looks like there could be a 16 break on tap for Bed Bath & Beyond, more or less any second now. So I just paid myself out in front of 97s, and then I'm looking for a 16 break. We played the breakout at 15. The dip buy was off that pre-market low, and now you have a 16 even play coming out here for Bed Bath & Beyond. I want to double check, at least in a second, on AMC as I get my order locked and loaded to go. I'm going to assume there's something else going besides this, but Bed Bath & Beyond right at that $16 mark. Let's see if this break has as much juice as the last one did. The 15 was pretty solid. 16, it's always tougher when you're taking out that high. The high of the day break, that just got faded. Didn't even get it yet. We got it. Just got it. It's already up to some 10s. And we'll see if we can get a little bit out there in that 10 to 15 range, and then just try to play it higher. Bed Bath & Beyond, like, this is the one that's, I don't know why I'm hitting the slap. Oh, yeah, because it's the World Juniors. Go Canada. I have no idea how it's going for them. But Bed Bath & Beyond continues to go through 16. You know why, Sean? It's because World Juniors, my birthday's Boxing Day.
Yeah,
and World Juniors are at the end of the year. So I'm not used to them being.
Plus, no one cares this time.
Nobody cares about hockey right now. It's basketball, maybe, but
yeah, I mean,
not hockey.
Yeah, even Canada, I don't think it's getting very much coverage here. So I don't know. There's that kid Bedard who's supposed to be the best thing since sliced bread. So
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's only 17 and he's like setting all the records. So Connor Bedard is going to be a hot player. That's faux show. Yeah, okay. So we're not doing anything on Bed Bath & Beyond other than holding it. So like we said, remember it was down here at 1540. I'm like, I'm just going to hold it. There it is. Let's just see what happens. Bed Bath & Beyond continues to motor to the upside. We are still in that money, $2.35. So yeah, it's a big time trade here. So we'll wait for it. Amazon again, look at this, man. We're just painting purple flowers. Let's go on to another name here. Yeah, BBBY seems insane, doesn't it? Those of you that are on the chat, thank you for watching, by the way. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the share, hit all that because, we're coming back with bigger and better hosts. Stephanie's going to be coming on very soon. Talk a little bit about the futures as well. See if there's any sort of plays that are coming through here for us in the afternoon. I'm just hoping she says short right now. Revlon's another one of those names that a lot of traders looking at. We are pulling back right now, right into this level. So I'm going to try it one more time on Revlon here. Back into 09 or so. We'll see about just taking a fill on Revlon there. A couple deep print fills there coming through. So let's wait. Now it goes down to 07. We'll take another fill. Well, we just took it right here. So we'll see. But that bottom right now is 8802. I feel like I want to take another piece down in here around 780 or so. But again, look at the market coming in, right? And so this is not something that I want to lose money on. We're actually now doing really well on the Amazon short, on the Apple short, and on the Roblox short. So here we go. That just faded back in. And then we just got another piece out on Amazon as well as that came back down. So yeah, so far so good here on all these shorts. Let's not try to mess around too much with Revlon, but I just did put another bid down here around 790 to see if it can hold that 770 or so bottom. So that's what I'm looking at here for Revlon. And look at Bed Bath & Beyond, man. It is going beyond expectations right now and continuing to make that move to the upside. Anybody thought you were going to stop around that 13 mark today? Well, it opened up higher than that. So we'll have to wait to see where it goes. Just on the longer term, I already talked about this earlier. And I mean, I don't know if you guys watch the sticky note or anything like that. Hit us up at Trader TV Sean, or obviously all three of us, all four of us, all five of us, all going to have Twitter accounts. But also the watch list is watchlist.tradertv.live. But gap fill, look for an 18 top. So I don't know if that's going to come out into play right now today, but we called the 18 top, and that was just because of right here. We had some consolidation in this area. We're getting pretty close, man. If you take the bottom of that consolidation, you're right now. So, if you're in this, nothing wrong with taking some profit at the bottom, then maybe some more at the top, which would be around that 18 mark. So giddy up on Bed Bath & Beyond. It looks like it wants to continue its move higher into 17. What's up, Rendo?
Tiger Global, guys, making some moves, disclosing some changes to their holdings. Worth a note, one of them in Block. So they reduced their position in Block. It looks like they added to a couple of other ones, including this one. Meta, just trying to tick back to the upside. But Tiger Global making some moves, cutting some Zoom, some UiPath, some Uber as well. I mentioned Block at the top there as well, down to 950,000 shares.
That's actually great timing there. I don't even know if you knew this, Brendan, but we got a super chat asking about Meta. And yeah, it's got a slow grind to the upside. It's relatively slow. Compared to what everything else is at those highs today. Yes, it's at the high. Yes, it's positive, but this 181.50 or 30 to 50 looks eerily similar to what we're watching on Google here up at that high. So, I think look, unless you take out that 183, you've got overhead resistance, you've got a lower high as well. You've got some relative weakness in this name. Now, it is up a hair less than the overall market, but if you are looking for shorts in something, you do have sort of an obvious stop out if you want to give it more room, and you're like a 185 if you're a higher time frame. As a day trader, though, I'd be playing this the same way I'm looking at Google, right? Which is, this is 181.50, that's the high of the day, you short in front of it, try to pay yourself out and rinse and repeat. I just think Google's top is a little bit more clean. Like it barely broke out that high, held that even at 122. This is pretty much that top if you look at it post that split. So I'm in Google, but Meta, very much the same thing. So great catch there. If you happen to be looking at it, I was asked what happened to Bed Bath & Beyond. I keystroked out of it. when I was trying to take some out at the quarters and got out of all of it, I just jumped right back in above the quarters. So ended up costing me about 10 cents. If it can hold 16, that was the breakout price that we were into. It's just a strong trend to the upside. And I did say I would have a look at AMC because it felt unlikely that AMC would be unable to go when Bed Bath & Beyond, the other squeeze names, are going up. No, this one's a fade, man. I almost feel like I should have paid for some shorts today in AMC because that 24 area has been pretty good. A lot of relative weakness here in AMC that has to be noted compared to some of these squeeze names, which are just continuing to churn. Bed Bath & Beyond back to the highs once again.
So Leroy, like honestly, the way that works at the bottom, like you said, like Sean made $18 on Amazon, it's just because, I mean, we've made the decision not to show our nets, and we tried to figure out a way to show you how much profit we're taking per share, but it's not right, because like if I take 1,000, I almost want to get rid of that because it's stupid. Like it'll even show us up on stocks that we're down on, so I'll have to think about how to do that a little bit better. But we try to use percentages. I think that could be something that we could do. It's just like if I take 1,000 shares here, or 100, or 10 shares, I mean, it doesn't matter. Our minimum is 10, of course, here, but if you take shares there and I get them out 3 times, it thinks I won like 30 cents every time, but it's not. It's just like 30 cents on part of this, right? And so that's why I keep saying to you, if there's ever, you want to know if I'm up or down on Revlon today, or up or down on Bed Bath & Beyond, I mean, you could just ask us in the chat. That's going to be the best way to get a hold of Neil or I, is tag us, ask us, you know, if we're up on that stock, or maybe even, is it like one of our top stocks on the day? I mean, I think I do a very good job of telling you, and I mean, we all have our different things, but like I try to tell you if I'm up or down. Like I'll say a cup of coffee is not that much, and then when I get killed on something, I'll tell you I do, and then when we are destroying something like we are today on Amazon, I'll definitely tell you, and I don't have a problem telling you, this is the #1 profitable stock here today on the show. So Amazon, the #1 profitable stock. It's not going to be $18 out. It's just if you add up all of these, it would be. But because you don't know our share size, it's kind of irrelevant on that front. So that's the thing that we're doing here, Leroy. We will try to find a better way of doing that. We haven't been able to do that yet. And part of it is because our system does first in, first out and stuff like that. So it's very hard to give you an average price on what we're doing. But that's where it is, and that's what it is there. So that's good. Yeah, thanks, Fake Account, and everybody out there that understands what we're trying to do. But we're just showing you all of our ins and all of our outs. And then the share size, everyone trades different books. So that's why we're doing that. And hopefully it works for you as well as it's been working for us. I mean, I want to thank everybody. We're at 340,000 subscribers or something, and really rocking up. I changed my Twitter profile not even that long ago, and I threw up here, 300K. And right now, it's like we're much, much higher than that right now. Let's go 10% higher than that. And then we're trying to get, obviously, to 500,000, at which point we'll be celebrating with some more champagne. And then the next stop after that, of course, is that $1 million milestone. I saw someone there mention about Kevin O'Leary talking about if you haven't made money on a stock in 3 years, then get rid of it. Yeah, I mean, again, that's going to be your own sort of timeline on what you're looking for, what kind of holdout you have on a stock, what account it's in, your timeline as well. Like, are you younger? Are you older? Like, what kind of a stock are you even talking about? Like, there's no way if I held Apple and Apple was still at the same level 3 years from now, I wouldn't get out of it. I mean, something would have to change in the thesis of the stock.
Market,
so that's all I want to say about that. I don't know what Kevin was talking about, but my thing would be, as long as you like the stock and you're in it for some reasons, then those reasons would have to change in order to get out, for me personally. So that's the way I look at the stock market and different names, which is why Google, Apple, and Microsoft are my 3 largest holdings. I haven't seen anything that tells me that those companies are in trouble.
But I mean, if you looked at something like an Amazon, I'm trying to put up, I don't use a monthly chart, so I'm trying to put one up here if I can, and now it's just not obeying me here. Unfortunately, that's going to suck. I wanted to bring up Amazon for a higher time frame, and I don't really put up monthly charts, but there's plenty of names out there when you get like a bear market, or when you have something like the .com boom or bust, when things will go under, and there'll be good stocks. They don't do anything for quite some time. If you're actually playing something because you believe long-term growth, it's going to be good. And ignore that. I'm just going to go back over to Amazon here and even just show you how weak this was for a long time in terms of not making fresh highs, even back in 2022-21. Like, it was having so much trouble breaking out of channels, and it was one of the more boring stocks in the market in terms of its sideways consolidation before we had that bear rally. And you might have said, okay, well, it's done nothing for you at the height end. When the market was making fresh highs through 2021, like, Amazon couldn't break out of the channel, and in fact has come down since. And I know we have the split now, but it's still below, relatively speaking, at 143. You're down here at 286. Like, this has done absolutely nothing since the pandemic. If anything, it's come down. If that's still true in a year, in 2023, does that mean I'd give up on Amazon? No, because I don't think it's necessarily going anywhere. So I understand where that sentiment comes from. But if you have a long enough time span that you think the business is solid, like Sean was talking about, there have been examples of that where you might have gotten out a little bit too early. So he's a smart guy. And I think that can be a little bit different. Like, if you're looking for a catalyst on a company that isn't as established, maybe you want to go ahead and do that and ask yourself, like, here's an example I would use. Like, if a firm hasn't improved their business in the next 2 or 3 years, when they're getting increased competition in, if they don't make a turnaround on earnings in 2 or 3 years and it's the same place, then I'm worried about them. If Lemonade can't figure their crap out in 2 or 3 years and they're a new business trying to break into a different and established industry, I'd be concerned about them. But it's a bit different for an established company.
Talk about established companies. I mean, I don't know what you guys think about Bed Bath & Beyond, but mamma mia.
This stock is insane, man.
Wow, this is a $3 winner now on Bed Bath & Beyond, and it's just like, hello. Again, we talked about this on the sticky note down at 13 bucks. So if you have that, great. Big time movement upside there in Bed Bath & Beyond as we look to take it out. I called it. I mean, when it was at 14, I mentioned 18. So here we go, man, up to 1670. Still working out now on Bed Bath & Beyond on that long down there at 1360. So we are still long this name, looking for 18. Let's see if we can get 18. If I keep saying it more, 18, then maybe it'll go up there to that Bed Bath & Beyond. But again, if you are looking at this name, just to talk about it, congratulations. You're right at this level one more time right now. So if you're looking at Bed Bath & Beyond, you're coming into right now a little bit of inventory up here where we've already seen this between $17 and $18, trying to take some of these levels out. But like we said earlier on the sticky note, guys, it's right here. We talked about, will it gap fill down there to $13, right? So we're going to bring it over here and have a quick look at what we were talking about if and when this loads up. There it comes. Oh, my computer is super, super choppy, and it's not going to show up. But trust me when I tell you right now. There it is right here. Here it is right here on it. Bed Bath & Beyond, a $13 gap fill. Watch out for 18 top. Let's see if that can continue. So we're talking about that. We have the trade on right now. So it's been a good one. There it is on the 2 minutes. So you can see right down there. Took it early, had to get out of some as we were in trouble, then averaged back into those pre-market lows, and there we go to the upside. Now looking at 17. So, hey, take some out if you're still in this. This has been a monster move all the way to the upside. We're approaching 17. Pay yourself, man. Bed Bath & Beyond, congratulations, because today it's a can-in there for Bed Bath & Beyond. So you got to make sure that you grab that, pay yourself. Maybe get out if it breaks back down below the 1620, but it's been a fun ride so far.
Yeah, this is insane, man. Like, I don't know if I can take the 17 break to the upside. Like 15, yes. 16, yes. But when on the daily chart you find resistance, it's hard to punch the top when it goes up there. It's 243 as well. But I did want to get this one in. I saw a few people mentioning, oh, come on, load up. Smile Direct Club up 20% on its own right, and it just made this move on volume here. So this is now starting to churn. It's coming back in, but that was a clean $2 break on SDC. You pop over to the higher time frame. Look at it here. You had last week, you had this $2 high, and Wick topped off of that, and suddenly we've broken through on decent volume in Smile Direct. They reported last week, of course, so watch for that. On a pullback, I like $2. Anytime you hold a breakout price and it was a previous high, I don't mind jumping into this one. It's just now breaking the key level on the daily chart, as opposed to, sort of making several breaks in Bed Bath & Beyond and then trying to go higher. I'd like to see the volume maintain itself throughout the close, but the market is back toward those highs. It's going to be hard for some of the shorts to continue to work. I'll go back to Affirm. I haven't even gotten a reload off VWAP, so it's not there yet. But if the market takes out the high, I do suspect it is going to get there. And then Google as well, or Alphabet, I should say. For now, looking okay. That crazy wick. For now, looking okay, but it's only a matter of time. I mean, if we get to that high of the day in the NASDAQ and we're pretty close to it, I would suspect that we're going to get our last fill up in Google. And if we take out that top, I'm out of here on that one. And Tesla, by the way, Tesla, which had done all the heavy lifting, imagine the fact that Tesla is not at its high, up 3.5% still, when we are testing those tops one more time. That does give me some concern that NIO might be done for the day. I'm going to slap a trailing stop on NIO. It doesn't feel like it has too much juice left. It should be back at its high along with the market, but I can see Tesla lower high, NIO lower high. Time to put some trailing stops in.
All right, if you're wondering, it's 2:45. Where's Steph? She's coming up, so don't worry about that. We're going to have her come up very, very soon on that one. What was that news? I just saw Brendan a little while ago. Twitter's on watch again. I don't know if there's anything, I don't know, that stopped by. I just saw it there. There's a letter. I don't know, is it from the district courts? I don't know what, but Twitter did make a move to the downside there when that came out. So we'll wait to find out a little bit more about that one. But Twitter still up today, 0.82. So kind of just following the market. I'm long this name. It's been a good trade. I mean, we've made money on the long in our longer term accounts. We talked about that. I guess I still think he's going to have to. Well, it looks like he's going to be forced to buy the company. We know that he also did sell some of his shares in Tesla, which is helping the Tesla move go back up to the upside as well. Wow. We're going to go to Brendan in a minute, but there's 17 now on Bed Bath & Beyond. What's up, Brendo?
Yeah, this was earlier on this morning, guys. Mentioned this morning if you joined us. Adage Capital increasing their stake. That was really the only news so far today on Twitter. But yeah, we'll see what happens with this Elon story that is ever continuing, it seems.
Always something there. There's definitely some long scalp trades that you can make on Twitter. And maybe I should have been going back to it. Yeah, 100% I should have been going back to it because this is what I was doing last week. The first time it gapped up above 44, I was really active, just scalp city off of that 44 level, and then it was no good the following day. Then you go back to Thursday and Friday when that same 44 was pretty solid support, and then now we break out from there. But you're doing that to capture 10, 15, 20, 30 cents at a time. So unless you have direct market access, it might not be valuable enough to waste your time doing it. I'll probably be back to that well above 44 when I come in tomorrow. It's just been grinding higher is the best way to think about it here. And as long as it wants to do that, I mean, you might as well join that party. I did mention I want some Smile Direct here. I want a bit of a pullback more than what we've seen. Like just now it made a high of 15s. It looks like it's trying to get back into the low 2s. I like something in the 5 to 8 range. I want to sit on the bid here, and that way if it breaks 2, I can get out. I'm just looking for it to take out that high, get to the quarters on Smile Direct. The volume is starting to taper off a little bit. But much like we talked about last week, I just find that I've had a little more success trying to buy consolidations on runners like this. If you don't have the early break, instead of trying to buy the next break, try to get the consolidation, give yourself a reasonable stop, and then play it to the high instead of taking the high, which I'm also not going to do on Bed Bath & Beyond. And by the way, if you took that 17 break on Bed Bath & Beyond and went to 11, and now it's starting to pull back in. I just feel like there's a dollar dip coming in at some point, and I'd rather not be buying the top. I think you're tempting fate the higher it goes.
Some of you saying, what is my stop on Amazon? I mean, we've made a lot of money. Like I said, this is the #1 stock today being traded. I feel like we've made a lot of money on this name, but we don't. I don't want to be stubborn. I mean, again, I'm looking up here because we do have more charts and more things available to us on the upside. So I don't know if you want to show that at some point. You can. But I mean, I have a 20-minute up here. I have 3, a 2, a 5. Dailies and things like that. So I don't know. I mean, I'm just looking at this level right here. And the problem is, if we take down this 143.20, then, I mean, I don't really have a basis until we get all the way up here, and then we're giving back too much money at that point. So I'm feeling like we want to get out on the top of that wick that just happened. So if we take all this out, that's 143.15. So, you know, if it breaks it out to the upside, we are light on this name now. I mean, we've been getting out on the way down. Obviously, I have a decent sized position right now, but if we get out at this 20 break or whatever we're going to do here, it's not like that big of a hit because we're only short at 05 now because we've averaged in. So this is really reasonable for us to take a 20-cent hit. The only thing is normally, like if this was during the open, I would never take this out right now. We would be waiting for up here, but the problem is it could be a slow grind melt up like we've seen happen over and over and over again in these futures, right? And so I don't want to be a part of that, man. It's already been melting up right now, and it can continue. Like we're taking out days high right now at 250 on no new news, nothing's happening, oil's settling down. Like if it wants to grind higher, let it grind higher. It's just not going to be with me. So there it is. We'll get out of that one. We'll unplug ourselves from this Amazon trade. It looks like we got stuck a little bit long. So let's just punch out right there. We get out for 15s, no problem. In and out there. To end our Amazon trade, it's the trade of the day. And like I said, net-wise, the #1 stock we've traded here. So let's go Amazon. We'll see if it can take out that high again of 144. And if it gets up here, then I'll look to re-engage it. But for now, we're out of Amazon. And we just took an out again on Apple as well at 95. So we're starting to get a little lighter on some of these shorts. Don't want to give back everything here.
I want to get to the INKT quickly, but a big reversal just happened in Bed Bath & Beyond. That 17, remember we talked about the wick top like 2 seconds ago? Well, it's all the way back into that 16 and a quarter. That's the last long I had. It should be the 16 even, but like I said, I accidentally got out of everything on a keystroke and then jumped back in above that 16 quarter. So I'm giving this to 16 even. I did not want to be punching a 17 break. I probably should have tried to, no, forget about it. I was about to tell myself I should have shorted it at that price. No, forget about it. I didn't even see that one as an idea. But before we get to our guest, that INKT went 100% up on the session, and when Bed Bath & Beyond just turned around, this just put a wick top as well. Wick top through 360 and now failing back into VWAP. Watch out, it's a 4.5 million float. It went to a big level on the daily chart where there's been a lot of resistance and a lot of wick highs, and it's putting a reversal at the same moment that Bed Bath & Beyond pullback. So I haven't traded this INKT, but I see a lot of people have. Just be cautious with that one. Now we'll go to Brendan and our first guest.
Just quickly before we do that, I wanted to update this. Babylon was halted, BBLN was halted when we first came on this afternoon. This was that note from Bloomberg, finally found it, just suggesting that there was a secondary or separate take private deal in addition to, I mean, it was already involved in a SPAC deal, but we'll see. BBLN, however, still halted for news pending after that report came out earlier today. There he is, Andrew Rader.
What's up, guys?
Good to see you. Good to have you back as always. Busy couple of weeks here. Let's jump into the market because there's a ton to discuss. First of all, actually, before we do that, I had a really good question. Somebody asked me on Twitter if you could break down, this was going back to the last time you were on the show, if you could break down, just give us an idea of how you approach the market. Give us your kind of daily routine, maybe. They wanted to know a little bit more about your trading style in general.
Yeah, so first thing I always do is wake up. I normally wake up a few hours just so I'm prepared before each market. Some of the things I do check in the morning, because I do get that question a lot. I am checking momentum on these RG charts. I mentioned these a while ago, just a nifty tool to keep these ideas flowing in your head. As well as I'm checking koifin.com, looking at sectors, which ones are lagging, which ones are leading. From there, I can kind of build a plan of combining all this sectors, marking out important dates as well on my calendar, such as VIX expirations and stuff that would cause a lot of money to move. I'm an options trader, so ideally in these markets, it's very, very good to capitalize off the volatile August we're about to hit. So as far as what I do in the morning, a lot of just checking, what sectors are here, what sectors are there. For example, this morning, woke up, we saw XLU hitting those all-time highs again. And once again, utilities. Why does that matter? Why am I looking at utilities? Well, just on a big grand scale of things, we know that if utilities are continuing to pump like this off a bear market, then that can kind of tell us that we're about halfway done with this bear market as far as what the market cycles go. Typically, you see those utilities perform really well, about 50%, 60% through. So just checking those levels. I do go back onto my chart as well, mark out my put wall, call wall, supply, demand, looking to where those zones, such as today, that 430 gap fill, definitely a target of mine by the end of the day or the end of the week, definitely something in mind. So marking out those levels, developing a plan, and just keeping the levels straight and the execution solid.
Yeah, it's an interesting comment and an interesting idea in the sense that, here we are, I think it was 17% when we sat down this morning off the lows from June, and 10%, if you can believe it, only 10% away from all-time highs once again. So this kind of grindy, slow crawl of a rally continuing even here this afternoon. What's on your chart? Tell us about what you're looking at right now.
Yeah, so back here, this is just, once again, guys, this is a lot of XLU and industrials. I wanted to come on here and talk about this a little. Utilities and kind of these industrials are going to be good. As traders, we want to go short here pretty soon, right? I heard Sean and Neil, they were itching to go short. And that's definitely an idea I have as well. But it's like, everything long is working until it doesn't right now. So if you do want to get some longs, it's good to get into some defensives like XLU. And one name that I've been watching is NEE. If you guys want to watch that name as well, NEE is a really, really good one that you could look into. Definitely these utility names are set to pop, but as well as industrials. So industrials after hot Julys, often the second half in the autumn, they typically have a big down spool. So if we're looking short, possible short ideas in some industrial names or the ETF like XLI.
We saw this just absolutely relentless buy program on Friday going into the weekend. That just pegged the market right at day highs at the end of the session. Give us your take on some of these crazy squeeze stocks so far. This week, we can talk about last week a little bit as well, but AMC obviously the big one, GME as well. But it's been all about Bed Bath & Beyond the past few days. How are you approaching this group? How are you trading these as a whole going into the summer here?
Yeah, so as long as these squeeze stocks keep going, and overall in the market, you could honestly identify as a general squeeze in a lot of these sectors and names. I saw a study that came out that said just about 3-to-1 ratio of longs were short coverings on this rally so far. So this is definitely something to keep in mind. You had names like AMC squeezing up a few bucks over and over again. And obviously that chaotic name last week that went up to $2,000 almost. These names are squeezing. My game plan for a lot of these is you have to remember if you're going to get in early, and this is just coming from an options trader, you have to be able to buy and take some risk on consolidations. Chasing is very hard. But as far as an equity player, yeah, trade those momentums, go in there, watch the tape. If you're a tape reader, I know Sean and Neil are definitely. If you're watching that tape, you're seeing the velocity of the tape fly. You're seeing these iceberg orders come. You're seeing these guys drop into levels and just hold. And you're not seeing that tape give up. And you're seeing that velocity start to pick up on those highs versus the lows. Just keep trading momentum. This is a big rally, big strength. And as long as we don't keep trying to call tops here and trying to short, then these longs are still going to keep playing.
It's such a great point and an important one in this environment. It's so easy to get biased and get stuck in a mental, state where you're forcing trades and forcing a direction, even when it's really just not there. I want to get one more in here quickly, and then we'll pass you off to the guys. Give me your take on these Chinese stocks, because we've had so many news catalysts, so many different angles, I guess you could take, looking at Alibaba, looking at Li Auto even this morning off earnings, but there's always that kind of wondering in the background of, are they going to get delisted? And if so, when? And if that's the case, how do you play them from an option standpoint?
Yeah, definitely. So one thing to know with these Chinese names, especially with the U.S. getting their feet wet in Taiwan and causing a bunch of the boiling pot, that's what America's known for. Just a political drama opera is what it is. But as far as these Chinese names, if we're trying to make a play, if we're trying to go long, I think the short term is better than anything. But as far as going, looking out long, looking at a outward perspective in a long term, probably my best advice is just simply to ignore them right now. There's too much that could go wrong, and there's also a lot of stuff that could go right. But I think the risk of even getting involved in these names as a long-term holder who's looking 5-6 years out is just too great. So sticking with those American companies, sticking with the the AMCs, I'm kidding. Sticking with those American companies, guys, is probably the best thing you can do, as that's what we know best and we are the most informed on.
Andrew, welcome back, first of all. Thank you for coming on here. Now, I'll preface this by sort of saying a lot of times, we have pretty clean charts for indicators. Anyone that watches us day trading, obviously a bit of a different story from looking at like swing trading a lot of times. But just for anybody that maybe hasn't watched you, doesn't know a bit about you, are there any indicators that are your go-to, like when you're looking for a stock like NE here, like Next Energy there, Next Gen? Is there something that stands out for you in terms of a setup? Like this is my go-to, or this is my indicator that I love for entries or exits or take profits. You know, what's on your chart that we can talk to the viewers about?
Yeah, so a great indicator I use all the time is momentum. Very basic one. It's considered a leading indicator because it does lead oftentimes on those longer time frames. My ideal setups with those are names like Carvana that I played a while ago, Carvana and some of these other names. The ideal setup is having that stock trickle down, start to slow down, oftentimes controlled selling, whether it's a diagonal parallel channel or something like that, having that momentum build, whether it's a 15-minute or 1 hour time frame. Those longer time frames for me are ideal setup to go, okay, where's the bias? Can I make intraday moves, but keep that long bias in mind, that longer time frame bias in mind of doing that? So typically speaking, I love analyzing momentum. That's just one thing I trade both from the tape side as well as, it's kind of funky. I do pair tape with the options sometimes, but I do also consider the momentum indicator. If you guys also want to look into that, it's a great one for sure.
Yeah, that's a great one. I mean, Carvana, the 15-minute on Carvana is, I want to say bloody gorgeous when you look back a couple of weeks ago before it broke out. And then, of course, it has a short interest as well. So thank you for answering that. I know we always get questions about what indicators to use, like what's your go-to there. And I want to make sure the viewers got a better sense of what it is that you're bringing to the table.
Right, yeah.
I saw your, hey, what's up, Andrew? I saw your TikTok video. What's up, bro? What does your shirt say there?
It says "Live United." I got this. This was a free shirt at a one of those like little country festivals they have downtown where they hand out the free T-shirts. Yep.
All right. I was going to say, I saw you on TikTok explain a little bit more about the momentum, so I just want to shout you out there if everybody wants to go out and have a quick look there. Look, everyone always says, I know you have Neil up on the retirement wall and everything like that. Look, give us a play, because everyone says, investing is for young people right now. Is there a stock? I mean, we've been hitting on Unity. I know the Unity engine has been a big one for movies and for games and anything like that. And I know that you're a day trader, and so maybe you don't want to dabble into this, which is fine if you don't. But is there a name maybe that you're looking at if you do have a 401k or a longer term time frame? Is there one name that maybe our viewers can start to nibble on, or anything that you're looking at? And again, if this is not your forte, we'll pass, and I'm sure there's lots of other things I could talk to you about.
Yeah, no, definitely. It was actually a name we mentioned. A lot of people, I've been looking and researching a lot into Unity. That one's great as well. We had one that we invested a while ago in. It was Jumia, Jmia, I believe is the ticker. They do a lot of things in Africa related to payments and services. That has since maybe gone off the deep end, but we still are believing. I think I actually bought a few more shares last week, but as far as that, those are two names. Definitely, if you are a 401k trader and you just want to say, hey, what do I get into next? Then you can't go wrong with some of these dividend names, guys, and dollar cost average. At the end of the day, when you get into markets off these lower prices, if your outlook is 20 years, I don't know why you should be stressing or watching Trader TV glued to your chair with sweat. But hey, if you just love watching them for the content, so do I. But definitely those two names are something to look out for. Unity, especially my favorite one, with the software and the ever increasing need for these kind of these services.
All right, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I didn't even realize you were going to say Unity, but I know that's a name that a lot of traders like. So, okay, I mean, what do you think about this melt up that I keep talking about? Like, I feel like this market needs to cool down and eventually come back into the downside. Yep. Do you ever look at an indicator like momentum, maybe on a daily or on a 30-minute or something like that, maybe for the NASDAQ or the S&P in general? Because I don't know, man. I thought 4,200 would be the top. We're now at 4,300. And then we had a meeting today, and someone was saying, 2,200? And I was like, what? Like, what is going on here? So there's a big mix here on what people's expectations are. Is there an indicator that maybe you look at that can, and you could share charts, I don't know if it's set up or I can call something up for you as well, but I am looking to say, where is the top here, or is there something that you look at to say, hey, maybe now we're going to start to short?
So conceptually first to start off with, I think recently this rally is more related to a bear market rally than actually a market bottom. Traditionally, we have sort of a stance change both from the Fed and a lot of these other problems, such as the war and stuff like that I talked about last time. With those not being resolved yet, with some of these problems still persisting, and even bottoms happen, oftentimes when we have the quantitative easing, which hasn't even started yet. So I do think this rally is more related to a bear market rally, but that doesn't mean quite short yet. We could get some sort of W formation. This could be the first V, and in that sense, that we need to have sort of a eventual pullback back down. When that's going to be, well, as long as people aren't coming in and piling into puts. One thing, an indicator that I could use, if this helps a little bit, is a specific ticker. Ticker PC. This one allows you to read kind of the put to call ratio. Now, why is this important? What a high put ratio is, typically anything above 0.8 or 0.1. What a high put ratio kind of shows in the market is that there's still a lot of people hedging. And as long as people are continuing to pile into puts and hedge on the way up, this market's got room to keep going up. So until there's some sort of flip or anxiety or panic in the market where people just go, you know what, we're going in calls, screw the puts, we're going, we're going green or going home, then this market still has strength. And until that kind of happens, until you start to see some of these structures change, then I personally think, as far as these issues as well, that we still have a downside, whether it's in this month or October pivot, who knows? But that's just my outlook on that.
Great. Look, we can't thank you enough. Look, I'm going to put my producer hat on like I always do here. What about a segment maybe next week? We'll compile some question, and it's like, ask Rader Trader a question, something like that, because we are getting lots of questions on the chat that I'd like to ask you next week. So why don't we do that? I'll compile a couple questions. We'll get a hold of you, and then we'll maybe pre-ask them, and then we can have them all lined up. Because honestly, Andrew, you're definitely a breath of fresh air, lots of knowledge, and it's great to see that the youth of today are still kicking around. So that's absolutely great advice. I want to thank you from all of our viewers, because they get to listen to us two old men and Brendan apparently as well throughout the day. So it is nice to get a little change, and we want to thank you for your continued support, and thank you for keep on with this information. So let's do that. You want to do that next week?
Absolutely. Yep. I'm a Pandora's box of information, and as long as you keep opening it up, there's going to be a lot that comes out.
I like it. Pandora's box.
Self-proclaimed Pandora's box. I really do like that one. So great. Thank you, Rader Trader. Anything you want to wrap up?
I was about to say, you better pencil some time, because there's going to be a lot of questions in this chat. But I know you do a fantastic job, as always, with them there. It's always good to see you, brother.
Yeah, absolutely, guys.
Ciao. Thank you. Andrew Rader, Rader Trader fame. On the show there. So that's going to be fun. I mean, look, I know that we get asked a lot of questions, but sometimes it's great to hear. I mean, it's
different
nice.
Perspective.
That was not a preloaded question. I asked him about Unity. I do know that there's a lot of hype around that engine. And there it is, Unity with a big stock there. And as you can see, I think you did the right thing there, talking about, buying into stocks that are continuously paying dividends, and big buybacks is something that I believe in, which is IBM, Google, Apple, all those kind of stocks, XOM even, that continue to put their money back into their own stocks. So I do believe in all that stuff. So thanks, guys. I mean, thanks for the talk about Greg's segment there. Thanks to Brennan as well for always talking with Andrew pre and post interview and stuff that, right?
Okay.
So,
I got to show one chart.
Yeah, go ahead.
We have to. Because you threw in there that there's look, I'm not going to say who, but there's a certain somebody. We were in our meeting, and someone had mentioned that there was a former trader, or trader actually, that we know, was talking about where we could head back down to. And they tend to think that we can retest 2,300. I mean, last I checked, that's pretty extreme. But don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people with that type of a belief out there. I think that's still very, very extreme. But the reality is, it does feel to me like we're getting towards some top. But one of the things that Andrew said is, it doesn't matter what the indicator is or what you need to see before you think this run is over, but you should be looking for something in that regard. You're looking to be convinced that the clear move to the upside is ended, as opposed to just sort of guessing at it, coming in and just saying roll over. No, if you get to key resistance somewhere, you see a few things lining up, you have an indicator telling you, okay, this could start to be it. Maybe you're taking some longs out, maybe you're looking for some shorts, but have something in there, because let's be real, we have been in a bull run, right? And we have not had too many signs of pulling back in here on that SPY. 2,300, we'll see what happens. I don't think that's going to happen, but you know what? I've heard calls that I thought were ridiculous, and then, think crazier things have happened in there. 2300 is probably not going to. Although in our meeting, I was like, when Sean gave the old 100% chance it's not going to happen, I was like, always make sure it's 99.9, because there's that one slight, you never want to be too certain about anything in this world except for the Bills going to the Super Bowl, but there's always that slight chance that something crazy can happen in there. But just have an idea as to what it is that you're looking for us to make a temporary top there. Another point he made, which is fantastic, about the whole, QE and the balance sheet runoff. Like, there's so much that still has to happen from the Fed and actually governments across the world, central banks across the world before they are even done tightening things up in this economy. This is frustrating looking at what's going on here with Google. Like, I'm just saying we broke the high on the NASDAQ and came back in. The ES took the high and came back in. Google won't take out the high, but it also won't move more than 15 cents here. Like, this range for the last 30 minutes on Google is about 15 to 20 pennies. That's really not all that normal, to be honest with you. I'd expect it to be falling a heck of a lot further than this.
No.
What?
I was going to tell you. No, remember, this is what I've been dealing with every afternoon, man. I mean, go to Google like on Friday or whatever day.
I didn't trade it.
It's the same. Nah, man. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to tell you. It's like the same crap.
Oh yeah, you're right. It did.
It's Amazon. I mean, they're all doing the same thing. They barcode at these tops. They wait for something to happen, and then you melt up, which is why we're out of Amazon right now. I just got thrown around a little. Not thrown around. I lost 10 cents. Now I'm back in it, willing to lose another 10 cents. Walmart struck a deal here with Paramount. So we talked about that after. Walmart Plus members get access to Paramount Plus streaming. So Paramount Plus is actually a pretty cool streaming service. I was actually looking for South Park.
They have South Park?
They have South Park, yeah. Paramount has, so you can't get seasons, you can't get seasons 24, 20, like all the COVID seasons unless you have Paramount Plus. So I don't know if you have, I don't know, actually, I don't know.
I'm already chuckling because I'm thinking of lines.
South Park
Student
is so awesome.
athletes.
Yeah, it's a good one. But anyway, so that's what, there's so many, but we better not go on the South Park front because that's
Why
a little
not?
bit.
Oh, because
it's very political.
yeah,
it's
that's
very
right.
racy.
No, you're right.
It's not the greatest show as far as that is. I mean, we like it as
it is the
entertainment.
greatest. It is
It's
the greatest.
entertainment.
I love that show.
Maybe it's not, for all audiences is what I'm sort of getting at, but we like it. And what I'm getting at here is also, let's go over to Brendan, but I just did want to talk. I am long Walmart on that deal. Now, I don't know if that's going to be a good thing for Walmart or not. I just took it. It was near the bottom. We got out kind of hastily when it broke through 50, and now we're going to use that 45 as the bottom, but I'm back in this name right now on Walmart. So let's go to Brendan, maybe more detail or maybe something else.
Pair with the bigger move, obviously. Walmart going to benefit, you would think anyways. But it's the Wall Street Journal here reporting this, guys. So these perks that will come with this are going to be offered to Walmart Plus membership program. So remember going back to last year, they launched a kind of Costco-esque Walmart Plus membership program. So you're going to get Paramount Plus with your Walmart Plus, apparently.
Oh,
So
I'm
still chuckling, going back and forth, because we love. I think that's one of the funniest shows out there. But it's not funny here. Bed Bath & Beyond, it wicked out, took out this 16, but then look at it hold. And I should have maybe zoomed a little bit further out to try to. No, I got back in at 16 even, so I'm not going to really hold it that far. But look at that previous high, pre-market top at 1550. That pullback, when it went 15 into the quarters and then checked up here on the way to 16, it was right back there at 1550. That's where it caught that little bit of a bid. That's just too easy of a formation to not get back into it. But if somebody's got it, you're probably playing 60s to 70s, giving it back to that 40 level. That's got to be a pretty solid entry. I'm not sure it gets back to that high. That's a pretty big pullback, but it doesn't mean that it can't make at least a press back to 1650, maybe another 30 or 40 pennies up. That Geo as well. Geo, of course, the Michael Burry pick. It played that 750, got some 65 sevens. It just made its run to $8. I'm going to put a trail on this now to back to about $7.75 here and let it try to make a run at that $8 even. I think it's got a chance to do so. It's been a great play. The key here is not just the Michael Burry invested in it.
Yeah.
It's got a big short interest as well. It took out this level Sean was talking about, that 750 on the daily. Big level takeout on the daily chart as well. So good momentum for it. Hopefully this one can make a move to that $8. But this is that next level up on the daily. It's right at 805, and then it has that top, the current high 795. If it fails to take this, I'm out at 775. I'd like to hope that it can take 8, and then I can slap my trailing stop at 8 even if it makes that break. Brendo?
Another volume spike here in Twitter, guys. Back to the upside. Apparently a judge with a ruling against Musk. It doesn't actually say on what right now, but they're going through discovery, I guess, for this court and trial is the word I'm looking for. But a judge ruling against one thing that Elon wanted and Twitter did not, I guess, which is apparently workers who assess bots. They were going to try and subpoena individual workers who assess the bots on Twitter. So again, Elon wanted this. The judge said, no, not allowed.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know enough about it.
Yeah,
I'm going to stay away. I mean, assess bots. Like, I would think that it would be pretty easy to be able to find it. I mean, you could see it already even on our accounts. I mean, there are literally, I'm going to say,
and
200. I mean, 200 just for myself. At least 200 like fake Instagram and Twitter accounts have been created.
Look out!
What, Megal is going down? What are you talking about here?
Meagle, out of nowhere. Okay. What the heck was that?
Did it get rug pulled, or what was it doing here? Oh, it is going to.
Oh, my goodness. No, it didn't.
Here's Megal right now.
What the heck was that?
17 down to 15.
No, I was on the bid of Megal, whatever you want to call it. When it put that move in, and then it went into the fake halt. I'm like, okay, I'll try the longs above 16 even. We were long this thing at about 15, and then it just slammed down in one candle, resisted the halt. Okay. I jumped into it the other way here, going to try and play it into VWAP, but that was like a death candle on Megal. Maybe it's shaking it out. But if it wants to hold this 16.5, I guess I'll give it to that. What a crazy move. That came out of nowhere, absolutely nowhere on Megal, while everything else was sort of screaming to highs. That looked like it was about to take out an 18 top. Didn't quite get there, and now starting to come back in.
You see what I'm saying about melting upside right now in this market? I clicked over to Roblox. Let's go. We've just averaged in. We've only been able to get it out once, and that was right there for basically flat. All the problem started is when we thought that the market was going the other way, right? We thought that we'd have a melt down, I guess. Yeah, you can melt down. A meltdown like my kids do when they have to realize that there's no more screen time.
Well, that
it's a meltdown. But we'll see right here into the. We had a great place called Positively Pets. So for my kid's birthday, there was 11 of them, and they bring in these pets. And anyways, they brought in a hedgehog, which was pretty cool. They brought in a skinny pig, which is like a guinea pig. But anyways, the biggest hit was a chinchilla. So as soon as that was done, Barron, who you guys have all seen, our newest analyst on the show, he went right online, and he came to me and goes, Dad, a chinchilla is only going to cost about $262 plus tax, because he went on there and he went over to Amazon and he started pricing out all of the pieces. Those
are a problem, by the way.
They're
fast.
They're fast. We also have a cat. We have a few other problems, and that chinchilla would be fine. But we also have an axolotl. So I've already given in.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, it's fine. I've already given in a lot. It's like a little. I'll show it to you. It's like a salamander, but they're actually really super cool if you've ever seen them. But anyways, chinchilla apparently. I felt it, man. The problem was she put it on like every kid's head. So it was really docile and everything like that. So it was really chill. So of course he wants a chinchilla. So shout out to anybody in there that owns a chinchilla. They're super soft, and this one was super sweet. So I don't know.
I have a sad story about. Well, it's kind of sad.
I'm not getting a chinchilla anytime soon.
My grade 3 class, we had one.
Right.
And then it let's just say certain kids had the responsibility to when it comes out, that make sure it gets monitored and goes back in.
Yeah.
Let's just say that said kids, I'm not calling you out because we were like 8 years old at the time, but you know who you are. If you happen to be watching the show, you're not. But they let it go and they're putting it back in.
Yeah.
It ended up getting in some vents.
Right. So that's game over.
Got stuck. Yeah, wow. It was obviously kind of sad and traumatizing at the time, but they're quick, man. It's like the second it was out of hand, it was out of pocket, and that was it. And they're like little slippery fellas. It was pretty sad. I mean, that was my first personal experience with an animal passing away, which kind of sucked. You're only 8 years old.
Passing away. You guys basically murdered it. You let it go.
Whoa, don't look at me, man. It wasn't my responsibility.
Right. Somebody else's responsibility, who may remain nameless. I don't know the story, so that would be.
And the funny thing is, I could call the two guys, and you might know one of them because he played.
Yeah, Dan, I ain't getting no
He
pool.
played catcher for a high school that we played against, BCSS. He was their catcher, and in grade 8. He done messed up. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I now know who it is. So, okay, sorry for your loss. Yeah. It's not.
It was.
It's not.
No, it was a long time ago, man.
This is grade 3, so it's like.
It was like 5-10 years ago.
I
No,
was
just
gonna say,
kidding.
maybe like 15 years ago. No, but okay, let's just move on to the next, as they say. Jay-Z
Wasn't
says
me.
on to the next. Okay. I don't know, man. I'm trying to give Roblox up to $49.50, trying to give it an average price here. Like I said, the reason why I picked on this name was we were below the 50 period. We're well below VWAP. I felt like the market wanted to head to the downside. We first took the short when I thought the market was breaking right here. The market did not break and is starting to melt up. So it hasn't been a very successful cut. Well, actually, you know what? We were actually pretty good on Friday at this time. But, you know, it hasn't been a successful time trying to hold on to shorts during the power hour. I mean, the last couple days, the market has melted to the upside, and it's doing it again today. As we just showed you, it's starting to take out, I mean, it's just taking out highs all the way up. So as it just continues to go upside, if you're going to look for a little more longer time frame on this market, I mean, I don't really know what to show you. You know, we can go to a 60-minute or whatever. It's upside. It's upside, and it's more and more upside. So you're going to see this NASDAQ just melt up. I mean, it's big time moves. We're nowhere near these levels as it's taking forever for my chart to load up. That 13,500 was a great starting point today. So if you're going to look at anything, maybe we should have looked at a little bit of a longer time frame. In the minute that we held this level, it was just a long here. So we'll wait for 13.5 to get breached again. But for right now, yeah, it stalks off to the races as we've really held out pretty good. I don't know what's going to send this market yielding to the downside, but we've been sort of holding up hope here that, hey, all is well. And I'm not sure all is well in this market, but hey, China, Taiwan, I guess we got a little scared there with Nancy Pelosi going over, and everything turned out to be just fine. So maybe there's something about that, but I'm going to switch back over to a 2-minute chart.
Actually, that's going to rear its head again because there's another trip coming.
And wasn't her like son there or something? Like, I don't.
There's some other congressperson that's going to be going. So we'll see if that flares up again. Although it was like a nothing burger after the first day or two.
And maybe that rocketed the market, man. Maybe people were a bit nervous.
And then it wasn't nothing. Yeah,
and then it was
burger,
nothing. So maybe there's something there.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly could be. We're not heading down to 2,300. That's for darn sure, no matter how bad things get. I shouldn't say that because there's always something extreme that you didn't see coming that can happen. And of course, we never want any of that to happen. I kept looking over at Tesla. It's doing absolutely nothing. Meagle's starting to come back, but it looks like it is catching a bit of a bid. I was asked about Bed Bath & Beyond just now, like where's the re-entry? I mean, like I was sort of giving, like here, I was saying this 1550 makes a little bit more sense. You've got the previous top, you've already had a consolidation and a hold of that level. I got stopped out there on the retrace through 16 because I only gave it like 20 cents or so. But I think that next level is at 1550. Maybe that'll be an interesting dip buy. But you don't want it going all the way to VWAP on you. So, I mean, I'd be waiting for it to pull back just a little bit more for that entry. Almost everything feels like it is starting to... Like it's either starting to if you're a big cap name, if you're a small cap name or a runner, they're starting to pull back. We're finally getting back to the high of the day on NEO, where I think I'm just going to take it out in front of 2150. The volume is not here. Tesla's not at that high. I think this one just might be done for the day. So I'm either getting it out in front of 21.5 or my trailing stop's going to now be at about 21 and a quarter. So just to tighten it up, if it's not breaking the high right now, then it's not that strong because the market is continuously taking out tops. It's like we're failing at a lower high over in NEO, and I'm staring and watching both indexes go right to the high of the day. My Google is all the way back to flat. So that's right at that high. I mean, maybe it's just one of these things breaking out of the high. But I feel like when it's barcoding like this, if you take a top break, how is that going to be any good if we're just going sideways into the close? So I'd rather be getting something at a good price instead of paying at this top on Google. But my stop will stay in. If it takes a high of the day, I'll be out of this short, and then maybe just Affirm will be the last one left.
Did you want to, I mean, you were just talking, so you don't have to do it, but people like, is there a stop on MEGL?
1625.
Okay, so there you go. So 16.
It's right here.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay, well,
people just wanted
this
to.
is actually 1620, but my stop's at 1625. So if there's an obvious line on a chart, like you can sort of see, if I zoom in on here, like if there's an obvious line on a chart, which is like this little stop right here at 1620, usually it's an extra 5, 10 cents, something like that, just in case it wicks above or there's a dark pool, 1 penny or 2. But the reality is, like if this stock does fall, I think we're seeing VWAP rather quickly on Meagle, and if it takes out this level, you could easily see it take out the high. I'm just actually surprised that move down came without it breaking 18. Like I would have expected, if you're going to do a death candle and try to fake into a halt to the downside and reverse the momentum, it's because you broke 18, trapped people going long at the high of the day, and then you flushed. This didn't even break the high. It actually fell short of the high of the day. So this is one of the rare situations where you could just be sitting in front of the high of the day short, and then it did a death candle without even making that last little breakout. We'll see what happens. I still think that at this point, that would make the 18 break not all that bad, except for the fact that it's 325. And we're starting to run out of time for the rest of the day here.
All right. Yeah, running out of time for sure. We got out of, I mean, it looks like, as Walmart starts to go back up, I just got a little bit fed up with it and got out for flat. We're still holding a third of it, so if it does rip, I mean, our best outs are 68s. It's just not doing anything right now. So that's something to look at right now. 132.68 or so on Walmart. We got out of it. I just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention. Revlon, meanwhile, is starting to go back up. So we do have an 8 bid here on Revlon, but I am noticing right now that we are touching this 35. Let's take a piece out right now if we can at 30, and then hopefully, be able to watch this get up to 850 again, which, I mean, that'd be pretty sweet, man. I mean, to get 50 cents on $8 is good, but if you did want a little bit higher, the high of the day is hovering around that $9 on Revlon, and just trying to see if we can, make amends from that trade there where we went in and then out. So cup of coffee, but we're also making a cup of coffee. So not much happening on Revlon. Just wanted to go over that as you can see fit. Bed Bath & Beyond did dump down to VWAP again, or the 50 period, which would have been a great reload spot there. I was talking with Andrew Rader there when that happened, so we did miss that, but still nice dip down in. Not really any reason to buy it other than the 50 period. So if you're going to be holding anything, we wicked down to 1550 there. So that, if you're long right now, that's not a horrible out. We're long at 1370. I do want to wait for one more time to get that to the upside there. So 1550 on BBBY.
So someone just put in the chat there, Mullen is number 2 in volume trading. Any reason why? I would say because it's a penny stock, realistically. I don't actually know. I can't confirm whether this is actually number 2. I just see 100 million shares worth of volume. It's just a price thing. Like, think about that in terms of relative, like, what's the notional value? This doing 100 million shares at 90 cents versus, the 14 million that Google has done, priced 100 times that. Right, so this actually, it's really not that impressive, the volume that you've seen over in Mullen. It's just not that good. But yeah, it is a volume leader. We noted this morning that it was up and about 10% or so. I'm excited when it gets to $1 because I like trading off that dollar level. It's always been a key price for me. I started out as a penny stock trader early on in my day trading career, and a lot of times you can keep it really simple. But Meagle, if it resists that hold, now it's headed back toward the upside. If it can, now of course it just broke that 1625. It hasn't really gone anywhere just yet, but that 18 at the high, it never took out that top. So you have a clean double top, resisting the halt to the downside, which wiped out and probably had a lot of people in the short in that range as well after it puts that capitulation candle in, let alone the people that were short in front of the high of the day. So if this one can go, hopefully soon, because we're running out of time, it has a chance to be your late day runner potentially. But at least something's working to the downside, but it's not going by much. I got to get on bids here. There is a buyer on Affirm at 39, and it's more of an iceberg than anything else. Every time it gets to this price, it slips below by a couple of pennies, and then it slams right back to the upside. So I cannot ignore the fact that that is true. every time I start getting out at 39, think it's going to follow through to the low of the day, it goes right back to that 39 price. So that's all we're going to get. We're going to have to get out. The market is trending toward the high. It might be relatively weak, but it's also not falling very far either, which feels like that's par for the course this afternoon. Nothing seems to want to follow through into that downside. Even something like Rev, you guys were talking about Revlon. It looked like it was about to fail VWAP there. Gets down about $8. Now it's starting to climb back a little higher. This is one I would have been more excited if we could have had it breaking 850 and going back toward the high of the day. Might have to be a look for tomorrow on Revlon as volume there is dried up. It seems to all be in MEGL right now. I know it's not Meagle, but that's what we like to call it. MEGL seems to have all the volume going, and then Bed Bath & Beyond. The names like Revlon that were exciting earlier, they're pretty much dead. I think these are the two worth watching, at least that I can find so far, and even Bed Bath & Beyond starting to slow down.
So, yeah, I mean, we got out of Revlon. So Revlon did print that 30, just an update. It's not doing it. I mean, we're long at 9, out at 30.
8.
So, what am I long at? 8? Yeah. Oh, sorry, no, 809.
Oh, $8.09.
$8.09. It doesn't matter. Same thing, you're right. $8, $9. Not really doing that much, so we'll wait on that one. Just in case you guys are joining us for the first time now, what's up? Hit the like button, please. Walmart, why am I in this? Well, it was on the Paramount deal. There is news because it's earnings time, and they do report tomorrow before the bell, so we'll wait out for Walmart, but that is not why I'm in this. This is not a play holding into the close or holding for tomorrow morning into earnings, but again, we are on the floor of a prop firm, so visit Day Trade the World. We can't hold anything past 4 o'clock, so, and if it is, it's just slightly after 4, let all the market on close orders settle down, but yeah, so this is just simply a play based on the Paramount deal, not Time Warner. The Paramount deal being added, similar to how Prime Video has Amazon Plus, Walmart Plus, and again, I'm just reading the headlines that come through. So there'll be something like you'll be able to get access to Paramount Plus and maybe vice versa. I don't know if it's a vice versa situation, but if you are a Walmart Plus member, you can stream Paramount Plus, and then Neil and I got all excited because it was South Park, but I don't know if Paramount Plus is even available in Canada, so we'll pass on that, but that's why I'm long. And yeah, now it's like Yahoo! Now it's working to the upside as it starts to go, but we did take a hit initially on that news because I just didn't want to hold it past 50, and then we just got right back in, and now you're seeing it take out some of these highs. So for me, some outs are going to be in here around the 90s, but why not take a piece out around 80? All right, so my biggest position by far right now is Roblox, and the reason why it went right up to 30, we're actually at 35. Sucks because it went to 34, but that's okay. Now it's come back in basically to flat, well, not flat. We're out at 49 flat right now, so hopefully that'll come back in, take down this 50 period, and then we can start to head back to the downside. But that's the one name that I wanted to get short today. Just should have waited a little bit longer to get that trade. But there it is, breaking back down below VWAP. Sean, wait, be more patient on that trade, and you would have got paid off there. So, okay, lesson learned. All right, so it's been a bit there. We had Rader Trader on, so Stephanie missed her earlier look. So let's get a little look here into the close on the futures with Steph at the big screen.
Hi everybody and good afternoon. It's glad to see you again. So let's touch base on what's going on with ES futures in comparison to when I was on the midday show and the price action that was happening. Honestly, I do feel like this is a repeat of Friday. That slow and steady grind that we've been maintaining intraday is pretty much happening here again. So as you can see, we really only dipped down to 4290s, still maintaining that key psychological level of 4300. How much room to the upside do we have is honestly the real question. For an intraday basis, the level that I did have marked off was 43.17. But then again, I haven't taken any trades because we've just sort of been bouncing 10 points within the middle here. And for me, it's not looking like a good high probability trade set up to the long side, and neither on the short side as we're running out of steam here. And of course, tomorrow I'll be back in the morning to adjust the intraday levels for ES and what we could be looking. But of course, once again, we're still in that overhead supply, key psychological level with with ES. Obviously, of course, if we are in the same position going into close for tomorrow, I am again looking to favor fading this move as well, unless there's any steam or strength left that we have, where I see where we really get above that 43.17 level and continuation to the upside. But for now, I'm sticking out of this trade going into the end of the day. And that's all from me, guys. I will see you in the morning for ES intraday level updates as well. Take care.
Thank you very much, Stephanie. I like the overhead supply still being in there because that's about the only excuse to like how some of these shorts are at least remotely valid back at these tops.
Right.
Because ultimately, look, you haven't really sustained above that high. So anything that hasn't broken the high, we'll just go back to the well and we'll have to scalp it if that's going to be the case. Google got to the high and rejected it again. So it's right back to the same thing that we've been seeing. We get that rejection of those highs. And someone asked in the chat, did I get that Smile Direct? Yeah, and I got wicked out of it too. But I remember I said 2 even. And the funny thing about it, I was just showing you guys on, I understand it's not Meagle, it's like Meg L because it's Empire, so really you'd pronounce it Meg L. I get it. Meagle sounds better because of Schmeagle. But Smile Direct, I talk about not having a stop at an obvious even level, then I slap a stop at $2 instead of like $1.99 or $1.98, and then it ends up going back toward that high. Now, ultimately, like you're coming right back in, and it looks like it is giving it up at this point. But that can be that difference. Like if you're trading with hard stops, a lot of times giving an extra couple cents, or just having like an area stop under it. Like when it gets to that price, have a look at the tape, see how much acceleration it has to the downside, or offers holding below 2 even, and then you can just punch out at 97 or 98 if you have to. And when we say punch out, we mean remove liquidity aggressively. So if you're long, remove from the bid instead of sitting there waiting on the offer to hopefully catch a bit of a fill. That's always one way that you can play it. Firm is now again through 39 with no follow through. Hopefully if it gets to that low of the day, I'll plop a bid down there. We only have 15 minutes till imbalances do come out, so want to make sure that we're getting some. If there is a pullback in the market, make sure we're getting some out there. I don't think we have any early look just yet on what those imbalances might be.
Oh, I did see.
Oh, we do know what?
Someone tweeted it at 144 million. I just saw it on a tweet.
Okay.
So 140 to buy. Sorry.
Oh, to buy?
To buy. So I don't know. Like I said, if that's going to create a move upside, that's very, very small.
Small
So let's not worry too much about that one. As I.
Yeah, that's not going to do anything really. I don't think. 144 is tiny.
I mean, I think that what Steph was talking about is true. I mean, we're at levels where the market doesn't really know what it wants to do now. Just slowly grinding to the upside, not really worth taking any kind of position. I'd like to see us like trying, if we were back down here to 13,500 or something like that. I mean, 13,500 is all the way down here, but even this 13,650 area, if we were near here looking to break lower and we got that break, then I could see us sort of getting back into that 13,500, but as long as we keep on kind of grinding like this, it's not like it's strong volume here on the NASDAQ. It's just kind of like whatever, not even strong volume into the close. I mean, we only have 25 more minutes to make our plays here. So let's hopefully, I mean, for me, again, it's all just kind of resting on Roblox right now. Either we take out some of these highs and I wind up getting out at 49.50, or it continues to trend down and we're able to get out for at least flat. I mean, I don't even have any bids out on this thing. For at least flat, and then maybe down here to 48.80, something like that, which I'm thinking back down near the lows of the day, especially if this market can fail on the upside. So let's see if that can hold out to be true. I think the risk, of course, I always think when I see this that the risk is going long because you're at the high of the day, but that seems to have been the right play, going long on like everyday high break, right? Because you're starting to obviously see lower highs being put in there. So, higher lows, boom, boom, boom. And then right now, we'll see if we can break that trend right now and get below this 13,700. So that would give a little bit of a trend break to that. So, all right, that's my look. Revlon, I know there's some of you guys talking about that. We're still 25 cents in the money. Honestly, I'm going to put an offer right at 9. If it rips up there near the end of the day, we'll get something out. 880, I think, would be a fantastic 10% move upside. So for me, from my current position, we'll see if we can get an 880 print. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm just going to wait here for it. If it happens, great. If not, then we can get out of Revlon at the end of the day because we're already out of 2/3 of this trade.
Yeah, and just a quick note here. A lot of times, like people will throw something in the chat, or like I'll see someone say in there like MU flag. And I know what you're talking about. You're probably talking about like a bull flag. Is it making one? Do you think it's a good one? Feel free to throw in the time frame as well, though, because like it's hard, like we're day trading, so I don't know if you're talking about like on your 3-minute, your 5-minute, on a 15-minute, where I think that's what you mean. It's on a higher time frame that you can see something like that on Micron. Yeah, this is the kind of thing that, look, obviously we talk about overhead resistance, and it's still there at 65. But looking at what Micron did, the chip names revising all their guidance, and NVIDIA pulled a rug, and then Micron has done so as well, makes a wipeout bottom. Now you're sitting there for potential breakup. But this is why it's so hard not to look for shorts. Like the first thing I thought about when I saw someone mention Micron, and I pulled up the chart, was like, oh, I should just go short in front of 65. Like that was the first thing that came to mind. Like you had this level from the beginning of the month here, it could not break. You had just barely for the last like couple of hours on Friday, you were above 65 into 65.40, and then it's been a resistance at 65 all day today. Like the risk to reward in this case, because there's no time left in the session, is to go short. Because if it breaks the high, where's it going to go? Like there's not enough time. But if we do nothing, that would favor that we've made a kind of a temporary top, and you can slide into the short. So people always wonder, like, why on a day like today do you often find yourself short off of the highs? It's because unless you're just sitting there holding something from a lot earlier, buying at the top never really looks all that appealing at this time of day. So I'll probably come in tomorrow thinking that Micron is a short. As a matter of fact, I'll be looking for shorts off 65.50, but that doesn't mean it can't be a breakout at that price. It breaks that flag pattern to the upside, and then it's got all the momentum in the world. I see a lot of other names into this. FRZA,
What's up with that?
Remember that one had gotten left for dead? We opened. Remember that was the that was the IPO that we're like, don't necessarily buy this one at the open.
Forza or something.
It was is it Forza? Yeah, Forza.
So, yeah.
We were like,
Forza,
that's a dangerous one to buy at the open, and then of course it ended up like rug pulling all day. It's just been going down for the most part since the open, but it has done nothing. Like this is just going sideways. It does mean, longer it goes without making a fresh low, maybe holding a bid, some of these will catch a second run. It's entirely possible that in a day or two, like this makes a decent bottom at like $6 and then catches a bit of run to the upside as maybe the float gets soaked up a little bit. But for all those lower flow recent issue IPOs, this was an example of why it's not free money to just go long at the open and hold on to it. Because there wasn't much of a bid when it started to go down. And quite frankly, there wasn't anything until about $7 that had some support. So you got to be careful trading these and blindly going long just because you get a few moonshots here and there. Sometimes they don't work out. This one, it opened up at 14 even. If you managed to hold it through to 11.50, you had a chance to get break even there, but that was about it. The rest of the day was pretty much done and still down right now.
The idea we had, good. Look, that FRZA and some of these recent IPOs, I mean, you've seen, obviously everyone wants to catch that HKD or that MEGL at the bottoms, and that's just so tough to do. But shout out to those that keep on trying, man. I mean, good for you guys. Hopefully, it's a net game. Like, you could win on something today, lose on something tomorrow, but if you're going to keep playing these blowout tops and some of these low floaters, you kind of got to look at it maybe on a quarterly basis or something, because there are going to be different decisions being made. Look at Walmart. I mean, we're going to say that was a good idea. We actually already hit that idea thing. Just going long and trying to hold out for this top. So we're going to sit here again. I feel like getting something out right now makes a lot of sense as you see the market coming back in. So we'll put in 88 there, and then we have something again near 133 if it takes out. I was actually sitting right here at 90. There it is. Wow. Okay, this is actually turning out to be quite a nice one. We are actually working on some more graphics for you, so we'll try to use up some of these as we go. The cash cow today, though, has been Amazon. I guess that's coming back in now as there it is as the futures crank lower. But look where we got out, so we can stay away from this name and not get beat up on this move back to the upside. But notice one thing. Look where we stopped. I mean, right where we've been shorting all day long. Roblox, actually, I did have a bid at flat there, so it did come in and filled 49.
Lionel Richie, baby.
Hopefully it can come back in right now and hit that bottom one more time. I mean, 48.80 is the bottom that we're looking for. Let's see if this market finally wants to give up the ghost here, Brendan, heading into the close.
Our technical pick crew just gave me a new keyboard, so all is well once again. Piton, back on volume here, back towards day highs. There was a note out earlier, if you missed it or if anyone missed it, about a rowing machine. The company said they're going to have a rowing machine ready to go by the holidays this year, but just popping up here on volume again.
Dump it. Rowing machine? I don't know.
No, I'm just saying, I don't know. I mean, I'm glad they sort of got rid of their. Well, are they still doing the treadmill? Because they did have, unfortunately, that child was stuck. I don't think he passed away or anything, but got injured, stuck.
No, I
underneath.
think there was a death.
I'm not sure there was a death, but
I'm going to look it up. There might have been.
I mean, our chat would probably have
you
that
guys
in a
will probably
second,
know.
but I don't know, man. Peloton's one of those names I think you could. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying dump it or not dump it, but I mean, the way this thing's been acting from the bottom, I mean, I feel a little bit different about Peloton than I would about DraftKings. Like I said, DraftKings, when it was sort of barcoding down there at about $10, I think that was a great opportunity to buy as well. But this name's up 80% from its bottoms. You know, if you're able to bottom pick some of these names, good on you. For me, all of these names, whether or not it's Peloton, DraftKings, Affirm, Unity, any of these names that have really gone sort of parabolic from the bottom, I think they all need to pull back to the 50 period before you at least buy them, for me anyways. So that's what I'm waiting for. A little bit of technical resistance back down here at the 50 period for Peloton. But you are running into the $16 level, very, very similar to some of the other names that we've looked at today. So watch out for Peloton. Bed Bath & Beyond, I'll probably wind up just dumping that one. Walmart's at the top as well. Bed Bath has just come in, and once again, it just took down 16 again. So that's now below the 50 period and looking like it wants to head lower. So Bed Bath & Beyond, I don't want to say the gig is up on this because it never is apparently, but for today with only 15 minutes left, wondering about the juice left in this guy.
Yeah, I don't think there's much of any. It looks like it is going to be done. I just got out of Affirm, so we'll go Timber for Affirm. I said this morning, my answer to, like, someone had asked if I was going to be trading Affirm, and it was like it was a nice solid maybe because I didn't have an obvious level up there on Affirm. And sometimes what'll happen is the level that you want right here, this 39.40, establishes itself after the open. It tries to break out the high, gets past it, and then reclaims that same resistance level. And then we're able to short it because it was too strong in the morning. And then after it came back in, you're shorting it off those levels, but it just hit the low of the day. I'll get out of Dodge and be able to take it out there. But I was just looking at something because I remembered that this weekend I had read about some more of these like single stock leverage ETFs. I was like, oh, that's right. There's a new 2X bull Tesla one. Right. I wanted to check to see if it had like what kind of volume and liquidity was on this thing. And I say this as I chuckle because quite frankly, nothing. Like this has been out there. Like these aren't really doing much of anything. I thought this might be a bit of a more interesting vehicle for the markets here. But yeah, like these, like this is the first one I think that's 2X. That it's just a long Tesla bull, 2X. Not a ton of liquidity, not a ton of volume. It turns out that maybe those were a little bit of a nothing burger. And I know I talked about them a few weeks ago, thinking they could be an interesting tool for traders out there. I think the reverse ones would be interesting if you wanted to be able to, I guess, hold a short by going long like the reverse. That'll be something you can do for swinging. But yeah, the 2X bull Tesla on a day where Tesla was strong, absolutely no liquidity there. Going to have to get out of this NEO in the next couple of minutes. Whether or not it gets to the high or even hits my trailing stop, I'm likely to just punch this one out here as it's not really going anywhere. It was a decent long on NEO, but I only came to this one because of the stop out on Li Auto, and then I was looking for relative strength over in NEO. And Google, yeah, it's still not moving. You're still off that high. It is 7 cents in the money right now, Google. Google is still in a 15 to 20 cent range at best. As a matter of fact, it's closer to 10 to 15 cents than even calling it like that 20 cent range. It got back to the high, has been barely able to pull back. I do have some bids in case we do have a bit of a flush at 350, but my stop is at the high of the day. Once it hits that, I'm getting the heck out of Dodge. Market didn't want to do much at the top. You had to make some coinage on some of these bigger movers like the small caps that were pretty solid there because that's where the real moves were.
Yeah, I mean, we're up. I mean, we're up really nicely. I mean, Google's my second best stock here today, and it's just barcoding here, but we took advantage early. We got that same pop, right? And I was sort of thinking that today as well. Like, we're just going to get a lot more aggressive on the open instead of just, like, spitting everything away here at the close. Like, we hit so many great levels today into the short, including these Google. Like, this is short at 122. These outs are 120.60. Like, you're not getting a dollar move now in Google at all. So I don't know, to think about like why not hold this. at least for like the first half hour of trading. That is what we did, and it was a great trade to the downside. So I think we got to keep that in consideration a little bit and watch out that the events into the close just haven't been that eventful. Now, sometimes you'll get huge moves, but it just doesn't seem like that's been happening into the close. We want to thank everybody for watching us, first of all, during the power hour. It's been a lot of fun. Bed Bath & Beyond is, Neil, starting to go. I just said, like, we might not have enough juice left, but we just did try again. So we're in the money now, 250. I'm honestly, like, it just wicked that top again. I'm going to get out, and it's going to look bad probably, but maybe we'll hold it. Oh, I almost turned my sticky keys on. You'll have to wait out for 1640, 1650. I think that's going to be a good out. So if we can grab that, let's just do that on Bed Bath & Beyond. Call the $3 winner and then get out of there. So we'll try that here on the upside for Bed Bath. We do have about a minute and a half left before the closing imbalances which come out. So we'll definitely have a look at that. And here it is early. This is nothing. These are all as of 9:30. We don't have any early looks, which is why we give it up to Financial Juice and so on and so forth to give us some of those data. But Brendan just did 8 minutes ago, and I guess it hasn't changed. 140 or so million shares. I always say shares. Notional to buy. So it's a pretty small amount there. If we ever go like it's $1 billion to buy, then you'll see Apple's and some of those bigger stocks really start to get going on those buys. But for right now, we'll hold out. That Bed Bath & Beyond is going to try to come out on that top side. And then I'm hoping for a negative imbalance as we just took some more out on Roblox for flat here. So we're trying to make money on this stock, but it looks like we may have to flatten it. Only 10 minutes to go. Let's see some downside pressure here on these imbalances because my only real trade right now, although we're still short Apple, we've gotten out of that, is going to be this Roblox short.
Yeah, I'm down to only Google here, but it's worth noting that Geo stock, it's holding up decently well. It's still above that 750 from the daily. It did trail me out there at 75. It could not eventually get through that $8. Unfortunately, it just couldn't do it, but still a decent sign that it's able to hold out, obviously above the 200 period and above 7 even, but that 750 level looks like a good launching point for it. I don't know if it'll have follow through in volume tomorrow, given the nature of the catalyst, but remember, it is a high short interest name. So if it does open above that key level, maybe it'll have a chance to go again and then get a run to that $8. It'll be on my radar tomorrow for that. If not just for that reason alone, I think it has a chance to be able to go there. Google, I don't know if it can come down here. It does feel like it's slowing down quite a bit, but into those imbalances, again, I mean, the markets are heading right back toward the high. Like, this is essentially what it is. It's just still that melt up. We're going right back up toward that top, which does mean if you're sitting there in your longs, hopefully you can get some out there. It's worth noting Tesla is still holding down a little bit. I just showed you guys those Tesla bulls, but didn't show you actually Tesla getting right back up toward that 940 level. I'll zoom out so you can see it there from the third and holding the top end of the range. So, you come in tomorrow, and as long as we haven't really gapped away from that price, your 940 is going to be a monster level there for Tesla. It's resistance till it's not. And obviously it was today, giving you a $10 to $15 pullback off of that level. But when that goes, Tesla's got room to the upside as well. Imbalances are out. Nothing significant there. The market didn't really move much.
Nah, not much happening right now in the market as we get ready for the close. But one name that I'm in still is Revlon. We bought this at 8. Our first out was like 8.20 as it didn't do anything there. Then we got out in the middle, and now we're going to try to get out here at the top about 8.50 or so for Revlon. So we do have an offer sitting right there trying to get out of that name, as we said. So lost a cup of coffee here, and then in the afternoon we've got a nice little long here at $8, trying to get this out over there. And then the other squeeze name sort of that we're looking at is Bed Bath & Beyond, and you can see we are long from here. 1360 had to average into this one as it took out 17. We actually tweeted earlier that we were looking for 18. That came pretty close, man. It went to 1710. So right now I'm going to sit right up here if we zoom in a little bit more. If we can get anything out around 1640 here into the close, that is where my Bed Bath & Beyond. It's actually at 1635. So we'll see. It's barcoding right now, trying to take out the top. But those are two squeeze names that we have on board right now. Bed Bath & Beyond and Revlon heading into the close, looking to take out some of those levels. So that's what we're looking at right now, Neil. And then we have Roblox as well. I don't know, and we talked about that a little bit. Oh, we must go over our Apple. I mean, I'm just going to get some out now because it is coming back in a little bit. We'll take an 04 bid. We had to hold this one. My out was going to be up here, which would have been 25 cents worth of a hit. 50s or 40s, or I guess my open order was 50s. The high is 40. So we'll take a little piece out, and now we'll wait to see. Here we go. If it falls back in, maybe we can make a little bit of coin here at the end of the day in these last 8 minutes if we do get a move back down.
So AMC did make a run up as well, but it's ATR, Tarian, that actually broke a high. So good luck to you guys pointing this one out here. Just broke the high of the day a couple of minutes ago. The volume, I mean, the volume is not all that impressive. It's only 2 million on the session. So I can't say that it doesn't seem to have enough juice when I look at the volume at that high for it to make a huge run in the aftermarket. A lot of times it'll be showing more interest in that. And you look at the daily, there's all kinds of chop, like 350, 375, that would come into play. It's at 3/4 now, so that is a decent amount of room. You know, 3/4 to 350 to 375. It's enough to put it on the radar for me. But the name I was going to talk about before you guys pointed out Tarian making the move was AMC on a grind up and then a big volume spike just now through 24.
Really?
So that 24.50, this is, you know, that's the break I want tomorrow. I want this 24.50 break tomorrow. It's way too late. Even if it broke it right, you know, it broke it in the next 3 minutes, we're not taking that trade. And it's obviously too late to do too much with it. But that was the pre-market high. It was the high at 11 o'clock. It's essentially, unless something crazy happens in the next 5 minutes, it's going to be the afternoon high, or at least a little bit below it. AMC, it's a down day for AMC when everything else was running, but it's still holding this nice range. Like, it has not really capitulated back through the 200 period since breaking out off the 50. So I still feel like you want to be favoring longs. If you can catch it off support or little moves inside of the range toward that high. Can't ignore that 27's been a problem for AMC, but 24.50 isn't that close to it. So I'll be looking for that break tomorrow. That's for darn sure.
Oh, man. Yeah. I mean, I'm doing the same stuff now. We're just going to have to get out. I mean, Roblox is turning out to be a profitable name for us today, so that's going to be good as that's come back down. We did take out some more Apple here. And like I said, this is just like this afternoon trade, man. It's too bad because really the best trade would have been that Amazon short. And it's too bad that I didn't even notice it. I was too busy talking to you guys about Revlon, Bed Bath & Beyond, and so on and so forth. So it's fine. Walmart was a great out, man. Walmart just tanked on that. We only have 10% left. Let's just get out of our Walmart now and focus on the Robloxes and whatnot of the world because there it is. Are we out? No, we did not get filled there. Okay, let's just punch out. Oops. Oh, that's why it's starting to go back to the downside. All right, we'll get out of our Walmart. Fine. Good trade there. We only had 10% left. There's a lot of our Walmarts getting out, but there's that last 10%. Unfortunately, we missed that. It must have a sell imbalance on it because that did come a big buy imbalance. The market did. Brendan posted, or was it Brendan? I don't know. I saw it somewhere. 2.2. There it was. It's on Financial Juice. So 2.2 billion to buy. It was.
Walmart it's a small sell. It is a sell,
Yeah,
but it's
so
not that
it did
big.
start to
It's
come
definitely
back
a sell.
in. But all is well, man. We're going to end the day, obviously, on a positive note here because there goes Roblox. We just got filled out. We did not. We're waiting at 92. But a couple good fills for Roblox on the way down as all is well there. Revlon, I guess it's at this top. Let's just get out. I mean, I was waiting for a little bit higher than this. But we could just get something out now at 40. There we go. If it wants to go back upside. I mean, 42 is fine. We'll get something out here at 42. Come on. Print some 42s, Revlon, and we'll get this out for a nice 30-cent win. And then just to check back in on Bed Bath & Beyond, as it's, there we go. We got that. Okay, well, now Revlon just spikes through 42. So there it is. Got that out like we just talked about. There's Revlon out, so a good profit there on that last little trade. It's kind of a quiet day.
It is. Before we go to earnings,
go ahead.
I have to because too many people keep talking about TTOO there. So I'm now flat. I just got out of the last of my Google. It's up 11%. Its volume, again, I don't think it's that impressive, the volume, but it is going to make a late run. And there wasn't much that was able to do so. And it's very similar to AMC in that you had a break. It failed hard last time it tried to break out here, 15 to 30, and has come right back in and managed to hold 20. So this is something you can put in that pocket that maybe it looks at this 22 cents and then makes a run up. But in this stock, like 3 to 5 cents is actually a pretty good trade. So it'd be something like a 22 break tomorrow to 24.25, risking like a cent or a cent and a half, which for a lot of people, you're like, that you can make that trade? Well, you can, depending on sort of like, if you have direct market access, get those price shaves in and use more shares would be the play. Volume pretty good. If it picks up even more tomorrow, it would be on the radar. But it is a bit of a mover. Not much moved at the end of the day, but it's coming right into that resistance. You'd be looking for that break on the 15-minute. A few earnings. Well, I mean, you're into one of them, but a few earnings in there this week that are in the retail space. What else do we have there, Brendo?
Let's get you caught up on what is to come. Here is the board for aftermarket tonight and before the open tomorrow.
Yeah, like obviously it's Walmart, it's Home Depot before the bell, and then we get a couple of other ones later in the week that are major retail names in there. I remember GAN. GAN's one of those. They're like in DraftKings business. They're in like a sports gambling, like a software side of it. I remember I used to look at them a couple of years ago, but I kind of feel like that was more of a pandemic play and they probably died. But outside of Home Depot and Walmart, I don't think there's a heck of a lot that we'll be terribly interested in. But those are good bellwethers for the overall market. We've seen what's happened the last few times we've had retail earnings. It was not a snooze fest, let's just say. Those names moved a heck of a lot, especially Walmart.
I mean, we got out of Revlon at the top of that mark. I mean, it kept hitting 40. We got out at 43 or whatever it was. We're pretty happy about it. And then it just ripped to the next level. So it just ripped back to 880 right there. So that was actually that clip that I sent out on Twitter there. Like that was that 880 level that I talked about. It came right back up there. It hit it. Now it's coming back in. But whatever. We'll take that 40 cents on it and call it a day on Revlon. But congratulations. I see Dan McIsaac and some of you guys there talking about that trade on Revlon. So congratulations if you held it. Again, we have to be flat at 4. So, I mean, any kind of move in the last 3 or 4 minutes of the day really is kind of lucky or fluky against us or for us on that extent as well. Whether or not you go up or down in the market, we got Bed Bath & Beyond out at 16, and that's where that is. As here we go with only a little bit of time left, Roblox comes back in, and it's just kind of just dancing around. So I feel like this is also a spot that I have to get something out on here on Roblox. So we'll just do that as there's only 30 seconds left in the day. So yeah, get your orders out. If you have to be like us and get flat, you don't have too much time left. This market's trying to make some new bottoms, or not new bottoms, but at that 50 period.
Oh, now
only
it
30
breaks.
seconds now, baby.
And now Meagle breaks the high. They just broke that 18 just now. It's a little bit late for us there. But I want to mention, before I put the countdown on, and Tony is going to be ringing the bell, Hellbiz actually reports after the bell. So one of the squeeze names is going to be reporting after the bell. I don't know what time, but Hellbiz is reporting after the bell. Tony, get ready in 4, 3, 2, and...
Thank you, Tony. Tony also with a guest appearance on the midday show.
Doing a good job.
Yeah, tomorrow there's going to be 3 hosts. Tony, Stephanie, and Sharif. So I think that was really good. I think we had a great midday show today. They'll be doing, work again tomorrow until we figure out exactly the direction of that show. But thank you to Tony again. We just got out of the last of our Roblox there at close at 49. So wound up being a winner on those last little shares. But again, not much happening into the close unless you're a Bed Bath & Beyond or Revlon kind of guy. We did have MEGL starting to move around. Amazon hit some of those highs as well. And our Apple trade wound up being great into the close. But kind of, we're green today, but kind of a messy day for me anyways, back and forth and around. So we're definitely not at the highest spot we were at. That was like almost at about 11 when we left the show, and since then just kind of battled back and forth. Stayed green, but not a huge day. Let's see how the markets wound up, Brendan. An
interesting note, guys, that BBLN, Babylon, that I was talking about right at the beginning of the close show at 2 o'clock, they just came out and said, no buyout rumors, no merger deals, no nothing. So the news was there is no news for BBLN. Here's a look at a positive board for you to kick off the new week. 0.76 there for the NASDAQ leading the way. Crude oil ends the session, 3+ to the downside after being down more than 5. Bitcoin and Ethereum still red when all is said and done as well.
Yes, sir. I mean, everything else... It was a relatively strong day that we held those highs when it looked early on, like everything set up for a bit of a short. So a pretty strong day in the markets. I don't know. I mean, someone in the chat mentioned that Hellbiz is reporting, so I wanted to make sure that anyone reading the chat didn't know, if you didn't know that they are.
Why
but I have
Tony Neal's
no
worst
idea
nightmare?
when it's going to be.
Is there
Why
something
is
I missed? I don't know. Someone put it there. I don't know if you guys went back and forth on something. Rocky said that.
I love Tony.
I know. We're all
I love
mean,
Tony.
Tony's a nightmare in himself, but we love
Tony's
Tony.
too much fun, man.
Tony's a lot of fun.
He's a lot of fun. We love the kid. We love the kid.
Join us tomorrow, man. A big thank you to everybody today. Fahad, Lucas, Maggie, obviously Steph is there as well. Do we finally have
Sharif
the
did a great
4-box?
job,
There
too.
it is. I
There
was
we
going to
go.
say, finally, we've got that 4-box, which is nice. So, Stephanie, welcome to the 4-box. What do you think of this?
Hello. I'm trying to figure out what we do.
There you go. No, eat it. Yeah, that one.
Hello.
There we go. Good. Yeah. So Steph going to be joining us here, hopefully on the close as we do this, and more and more appearances from Steph. How did you feel on the midday show there?
She doesn't have a mic.
Oh, I don't have a mic.
Oh, doesn't have a mic.
Here,
Oh, you know what?
here.
Yelling. Hi, everybody. Oh, you can't see me. Well, I'll be back at 9:15 tomorrow.
9:15.
9:15, she said. 9:15 tomorrow.
And hopefully moving forward, we can mic her up if we're going to put her on the screen.
It would make sense. It would make sense.
Yeah, that would be a good idea. So we'll do that coming out next time. But hey, guys, thank you for watching. A big shout out. We already mentioned Sharif Brankles. Who else was there? Tony. That's it. Yeah, we've already done all the shout outs.
I mean, Pratt.
Yeah, we should out.
know,
he's okay.
All the time. Yeah, he's aight.
He's chilling
aight,
over
he's
there.
aight. Yo, what's up, Pratt? So yeah. Anyways, all right, let's move on from this. Guys, join us tomorrow, 9:15. Steph already said it, but we're back live at 8:30. So make sure you sleep well. Big retail coming, Home Depot, Walmart tomorrow morning for sure. So definitely check that out. And we will see everybody in the morning at 8:30 sharp. Ciao, guys.